Go live there. You are live.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast.
Welcome.
Yep, we are here with Fawn Baker and our guest, Laura. Was it Laura
Lara.
or Lara?
Lara.
Lara. What's your last name, Lara?
Kretler.
Kretler.
Mhm.
Well, it's great to meet you. We're meeting
you.
Laura today. Yeah.
Been here talking, catching up. Been talking about our technology a little bit today. All kinds of upgrades still happening.
Yep.
Coming.
Yeah. Spending the morning getting everything together again.
Yep.
It looks even cooler in person than it does on the internet.
Oh.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. We're driving a mothership over here.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So today we have Lara is our first female guest. I just realized.
It's an honor.
Yeah, at breakfast we were talking about how, like, sometimes I forget that I am, a girl in a boys club as far as like being a tattoo collector goes. And it just hadn't even occurred to me that we hadn't had any female guests on the show yet. We've talked to some of our friends, but not really used it for the episodes or anything. So.
Yeah.
So welcome. This will be like,
Thanks.
Sorry, Jordan. This is going to be our first girl power episode.
Oh no, it's all right. That's
I
all right.
get
I like
the
it.
feeling Jordan's
like
gonna
it.
hang. He's not one of those toxic masculinity dudes.
No.
When
He's
he
cool.
gets his
I
hair
always
down-
I enjoy femininity.
When he has his hair down, he gets mistaken for a pretty lady.
It's true.
I think I need to see it before I leave.
It's definitely true.
The locks are becoming like flowy.
They're gonna be turning into dreadlocks soon.
You're ready. You're ready. to
Once it gets
ready.
once it gets a bit longer, yeah, definitely.
I
I
love
think your
that.
hair is long enough now, but I don't think you look like a juggalo. Not too much.
No, I still don't think. Sorry, I'm messing with Fawn's mic because I can't hear her in my headphones at all. Okay,
It's because I'm getting drowned out by the furnace.
is that what's going on here? I'll turn that off in a second here. But yeah, I don't think I'll look like a juggalo either.
Yeah, I think it's definitely long enough. You won't look like a juggalo. Growing up in Michigan, that was one of my fears. If you do anything crazy or extreme with your hair, you definitely don't want to look like a juggalo. At least I didn't. Like, if you do want to look like a juggalo, that's fine.
That's on
That's
you.
not my life choice, though.
You should have seen it when I first. I feel like we talked about this in the last podcast, or I might have had a conversation with someone somewhere else. But back when I first did my dreadlocks in high school, I just I waxed them up from hair that was down to my chin maybe.
You waxed them even.
Oh god, I
they
didn't
were
know
gross
shit.
from the
I
start.
didn't know shit
That's
about
what that
dreadlocks.
means.
It
They
was
were
so bad.
disgusting from day one.
Ugh.
That's
Yeah,
what the wax
from day
means.
one. So what happened was I probably had those for I don't know, half a year, and it was just disgusting. I just didn't like the feeling of having wax in my hair, but it was dread wax. It was it was stuff you were supposed to do to it, but I was this is way too much product and stuff. I don't need any of that. And then I
You'd
shaved.
get hot and your collar would get all waxy and gross.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Disgusting.
So I shaved that off, and then grew them back and had them for 8 years. But cut them off, grew back again. But when I grew them back from a bald head, I was totally so we have so much feedback on this right now. Oh yeah, they were this big, and then they were this big, so they just went from
So you had
nubs.
itty bitty little twists right off the
right
rip.
away I separated them when someone my hair was really
Okay.
really short.
Yeah, I waited till mine was well past my shoulders before I put it in dreads the second time. I did it the same. I mean, the only reason I cut my dreads off the first time is because I wanted to get my head tattooed. To be fair, I went home and I'm getting my head tattooed. I made the appointment and I went home and I cut the one side out where the tattoo was gonna go, and then I looked in the mirror. I was like, oh no, I'm not. That's not me at all. So I just chopped them all off. I couldn't do the one side. It was just
Yeah.
that's not me.
Yeah, I did
So
one side for a long time.
I grew them back with the intention of a mohawk. So I kind of
Okay.
I've
the
always wanted a
sides short.
mohawk my whole life.
yeah, and I've got the dready mohawk. I love when I see other people with a dready mohawk because it's not every day, but when we see each other, it's I see you, playa. I see you.
All right, though. Let's get down. Well, let's talk about Lara a little bit. So, Fawn, let's talk about what made us decide to have Lara on here.
Oh well,
She has her wonderful Instagram.
Oh, I've
which
been
is
creeping
a
on her.
tattoo
Well, okay.
doula.
So Laura's Instagram page is a tattoo doula, and it's just kind of like just the title in itself is kind of similar to like the motivations for even having this show. First of all,
Exactly.
Right.
So,
I love
just
that
to,
name
like,
for that.
to see that like, and I did we've met for today for the very first time. So I only know Lara from following one another on Instagram. But like you've definitely been tattooed by some heavy hitters. You've
Mhm.
got a pretty incredible collection. So I feel like you're definitely equally as qualified to talk about this kind of stuff that Jordan and I are.
Thanks.
So, but I feel like just similar motivations with like our online presence kind of, I figured that it would lead to some pretty like natural conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
It
Yeah.
did at breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we had a good talk at breakfast.
Yeah, and right away when you got
Jordan
in here, we
skipped
started
out
talking,
today.
and I was like, "Oh, we got to get that on the podcast."
But now, of course, I don't remember what we were talking about.
I know, right? But I do remember we were kind of discussing, just the idea of the tattoo doula and what made
Mhm.
you come up with that. And you were talking about like the death doula. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So a doula.
Let's talk about what a doula is first.
So what you typically think of a doula is a childbirth or labor and delivery doula, which is someone who is basically the pregnant mom's best friend and kind of helps them through from or pretty early on through all the way through actually having the baby in the hospital or at home. And I had a doula and she was amazing. My birth plan didn't go as planned, but she still helped me labor at home for 30 hours until finally we realized, no, we have to go to the hospital for this kid. And they had to do a C-section, which was very traumatic because I have a very heavily tattooed stomach. And I was like, please do not hurt my tattoos. And the surgeon like looked at my stomach and looked at me, and he was kind of a cool dude. He had like a Kanga hat on. He was kind of a cool dude surgeon, and he's like, I can do this. I'm just going to have to close you manually. And I remember like after they took her out and everything, and he was stitching me with these tiny, precise hand stitches. And usually they just staple you shut after a C-section. And the nurses were all complaining. They were like, why is he taking so long? What is he doing? But there is a hair's breadth between my low down tattoo and my low stomach tattoo. And he went right. He did not touch my tattoos. It was precision.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I always like talking to clients about that. Like when I see somebody who has been in like a traumatic car accident or something where like they had to be fixed on the fly and the tattoo was not of concern, saving their life was, okay, I'll let that pass. But when we've got like scheduled procedures or cosmetic things or any of the countless other things where you see where they'll like misline up, and it's like, well, I mean, to me,
like show a little precision.
I would think that the tattoo would help said surgeon line up all the capillaries and everything more closely to help you have a better heal. Like it seems like the lining up the tattoo would only help lining up the tissue under the tattoo.
You would think.
You know what I mean?
If
so I'm always a little bit disappointed when it's like way off and it'll be gathered at one end.
Or maybe
like,
that's where some of like the flaws come in a little bit, where they realize that like it's, or not flaws necessarily, or it's like that hard to do that. So it's like it makes it look more off when it is like that if you were to do that, because that naturally your skin, they might, to get it perfect like that might be.
I've never sewn anybody up though, so I
don't know.
I can't.
I can't talk. I haven't sewn anyone up either.
My honest guess is that they just don't even notice. They're just doing their job. You know what I mean? They're just putting you back together, and they don't really notice that. I've almost never had a doctor comment on my tattoos. They just don't notice it. It seems like, or if they do, they just, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they're trained not to ask.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What are they gonna do? Really? Sit and buggy about it?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I always wonder with well, not wonder, but the skin cancer thing is always a thing. If you say you're getting a whole sleeve, this has got nothing to do with cutting people open, but just more medical things when it comes to the tattoos and how a doctor might react to tattoos or something like that. Like, what are your opinions? Like if someone has like, say, like covering like moles or covering like, marks that could be melanoma later. Do you try to look for those and see if that's a thing, or do you just?
I definitely point things out. I mean, anytime we've got a mole or an irregularity, you should work around it. You should dance around. But I mean, I honestly haven't really encountered a lot of like red flag issues. I mean, in reality, if there was a lesion or broken skin, that area can't be tattooed anyways. So like any of the signs of skin cancer or anything, that would disqualify that area from being tattooed, period, in my book. But like I've got a few clients that are medical doctors, and after talking to them, they're like, people with tattoos take better care of their skin. People with tattoos have less skin cancer because they're using
They stay out of the
sunblock.
sun.
Yeah, they've got all this time and money in their tattoos, so now they're actually like conscious of their skin and keeping it healthy. Producer number one's going crazy over there.
I often say that my tattoos saved me from skin cancer because I was a little bit of a sun worshiper back in the day and just lived to like slather myself with like, you know, whatever, and lay out in the sun and being as fair as I am, I would always go red first and get sunburned, and then it would tan. And like, why would I put myself through that?
Yeah.
But as soon as I started collecting serious art, I stay out of the sun now.
Yeah, during the
So,
summer, I
probably
carry,
saved my life.
I carry the Neutrogena spray stuff.
Mhm.
Usually, it's either in my backpack or my car at all times.
Yeah.
Just because, like, sometimes I won't even know I'm going to be in the sun.
Right.
So it's nice to have. But I'm super fair, so I've always been mindful of the sun. But it's crazy how much more mindful I am when
Yeah.
I've got thousands and thousands
yeah.
and thousands of dollars in my ink. Like, it's like, that really hurt. And as much as I want to spend the day with Adam, I don't want to spend the day with Adam.
Yeah.
In the sun.
You know what I mean? But I think, I've read things. I feel like it's pretty inconclusive, but I feel like there are a lot of studies going on about how being heavily tattooed affects your immune system, and essentially it makes your immune system stronger.
Makes it work harder.
Yeah,
Yep.
your body, your lymphatic system knows
Yeah,
what to do
that
with
is
any
true.
impurities. Like, it's all still kind of like inconclusive, and they're just starting to study those things. But could you imagine if like being tattooed head to toe just makes you like, I don't want to say invincible, but like a little bit, like after all that pain you've gone through, that would be great to be like, I've already been vaccinated by tattooing.
I think it makes you immortal.
I do too.
That would be cool.
I think it gives you superpowers.
Once you
I-
have a certain
some
number of
superpowers.
tattoos, you can't be killed by ordinary means.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
That is
that's a fact.
yeah. Well, what those means are to be found, but
Right.
we don't know. You're not going to be killed by them.
But
You know
what's the
that.
number of tattoos?
Well, my number keeps getting smaller. So
It's
I
like
think it
nachos.
starts with
if the
7.
tattoos
I think it starts
stick
with
together.
7, and every
That's one tattoo.
exponential from
Hmm.
there.
okay.
7
Yeah.
7 tattoos. Okay. All right.
That's when they begin. The superpowers they start.
All right.
Nice.
All right. What superpowers would you have if your tattoos could give you a superpower? What would it be? Besides
know.
robot legs.
There's like realistic ways to look at this, and then there's not realistic ways.
Yeah.
Like I would really love to like have the power of like creating webs like a spider, or like 8 arms, but I don't think tattooing is going to give me, like, even if tattooing could give you superpowers, I don't think it's going to give you 8 arms or the ability to shoot webs.
You just need to be bitten by a radioactive spider and you'll be
Right.
set.
There you go.
That's what bugs me about Peter Parker, though. Is like he can't even really shoot webs. They're like
It's-
mechanical webs.
yeah.
It's like, come on, like I thought that spider bit you.
I see
But
what you're saying.
If I could do that, I don't mean to get off topic here, but I would like build a city. I would build a house out of it. I would like, you could like put sticks up. You could create the best foundation out of like spider web. It'd be the strongest stuff on earth.
I had no idea. You felt so
You'd
passionately
come over.
about
You'd come
spinning
inside
webs,
my house
Jordan.
and it'd just be like webs. Like I'm
Yeah,
just like
I
a
had no
spider
idea.
den.
I had
I'd
no
pop my
idea
head
you
out
felt
of like
this
some
way.
little hole.
Like a super cozy. Yeah.
Right.
I could see
I
it.
just got my 8 arms fully tattooed.
Like, you can make a sick hammock.
That was
Be
how I
the
circled around.
sickest hammock.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many computer screens would be around the hammock?
How terrifying would that be if I came down these stairs from the ceiling and like, came around?
Oh man, we got way off topic already.
You almost got us back to tattoos, Jordan.
Almost.
That was a valiant effort.
Okay, so to bring it back, let's talk about a realistic way you could get a superpower from being tattooed. I don't know. I said what I had to say. Fawn, what would you say?
I don't know. There's a lot of like real mental fortitude and things like that come along
Hell
with being
yes.
tattooed.
Well, I don't mean
just
like
the-
super realistic though. We can also go like you know,
Spiritual.
we can also go like superpowers, like, you know, like make you fly or some shit. Like, I just meant more realistic than a spider.
I'd want to time travel to like 2 hours after being tattooed. Can we do that? Can we just time travel? Just like, all right, well, here we go. Zzz, time travel, 8-hour jump.
So you get
Can I do
tattooed
that?
enough that you can just skip time.
Ooh.
Time travel to
There
the
we
end of
go.
your
That's what I'm
session.
talking
Can you
about.
jump forwards
Fist
and
bump.
backwards?
That's up to you.
I want to
That's
jump
up
forwards
to
and
that's
backwards.
up to the one getting the powers.
Okay, all right.
But
I'm
all right,
only
I really
hoping
liked
to
where you were
jump 8
going on the
hours.
realistic side
Like
too.
if I could jump 8 or 10 hours, I feel like that would be great. But like, if I could just jump
Right.
major amounts of
So
time,
it's like-
what would I do with that?
So the tattooing would start it, and then you'd learn it from there. So it'd be like, oh,
Mm.
now I got the superpower. Now I could figure out.
Meditate to 10 hours from now. That'd be great.
Achievable superpowers.
I would want to fly. I used to have these very vivid dreams as a kid of like having a magic carpet basically that I kept in my room. And anytime I wanted to go out, I would just open my window and fly. And I would like fly up above my neighborhood and fly just all around my town. And I think it would be really wicked if you really
Nice.
could do that.
Nice. Have you ever had a lucid dream where you could fly?
I mean, probably those were pretty
Yeah.
close to it. Like
Were
they
you-
were so real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
So real.
Anytime I learn to fly in like a lucid dream or anything, everybody tries to kill me. Everything
my
tries
God.
to take me down. Like,
Really?
like, you're not supposed to be, shouldn't be flying here.
Hmm.
The guy knows. He knows he's awake. And they try to get me.
That's creepy.
So
that
it's
would
always
scare the shit
so
out
whenever
of me.
I have a lucid dream, it's like everything kind of turns against me. To like,
Huh.
it's like, oh, we figured it out. Okay, well,
Oh, I keep bumping this camera.
Hmm.
Our technology's in the way.
yeah, I don't know why that one keeps bumping off.
Demo mode.
It's all right. We're still learning, guys. We're still learning,
We're getting there.
and I'm sure a ton of you are just looking through the Instagram, which is cool too. Our one viewer, Ernog Johnson.
I forgot to go live actually, so we just now.
Thanks,
went
Juxta
live.
Joe.
So, okay, let's talk about your tattoo history.
Okay.
Who all have you been tattooed by?
So
Throw your list out there.
Okay. So I started getting tattooed by Conan Lee when he was really young. Do you guys know him at all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
In my mind, he's, like really come up and he's huge, but I mean, not everybody knows him. He's in Indianapolis now.
Nice.
He was in Fairfield. And I met him when he was very young. And his portfolio was more of his fine art, like his paintings, than his tattoos.
His fine art's got like a really like an Art Nouveau feel to it. It's got like swoops and swirls like you would see in like the 1920s.
He
It's
loves
very,
like Alphonse
French
Mucha,
Art
and
Nouveau.
yeah, that my corset on my back is was Conan interpreting Alphonse Mucha's style into a
I could
corset.
absolutely see that now that you say it for sure.
and it was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Like when I looked in his book, I mean, it was just like real art, like painterly, strokes of the tattoo. And
It was really hard to find tattooers that tattooed like that. What years are we talking?
I
Like
first,
early 2000s?
yeah, early 2000,
Yeah,
2001.
it was really hard at that time to find a tattooer that tattooed like a painter in any kind of way.
Yep. And so once I saw it, I was like, that's it. I don't ever want to be tattooed by anyone else. And so I went to him for the first tattoo I went to him for was a word down my back that I got with someone I was in a relationship with, and am no longer, and that tattoo has been covered up. But the word was fate.
Mhm.
But I do feel like fate is what brought me to Conan, literally, because that just set me on this tattoo journey. Because I went in after I got the word down my spine, which he gave me a little advice about, but he did pretty much give me what I asked for, what we asked for. But the next time I went to him, I asked him for a little mermaid about this big on my hip. And he said, no, I won't do that. I won't put that on you.
No.
And I was like, what do you mean? And he started, he spent an hour with me just talking to me about the flow of anatomy and the curve of a woman's body and how just you want a bigger piece and you want it to follow the curves of your body. You don't want it just to sit on your hip like a sticker. And he just opened my mind so much. And I was like, yep, I trust you. Let's do this. And so we went from like this to just a consult, him drawing and sketching, and then me coming back and getting a full, across my entire lower stomach, mermaid, just
To, like,
sitting right
fit
on
your
that
body.
right, that fit my body, that just sat right on that curve. And let me tell you, when 15 years later, when I got pregnant and had my daughter, that tattoo went through its paces. But because of how he drew it to the anatomy, it grew perfectly with the pregnancy, and then has gone back down again pretty much perfectly. I mean, it's unbelievable. And like I said, the C-section scar came in right under it, so that didn't hurt it either. Oh yeah, there she is, my belly.
Nice.
So yeah, he drew it on and then tattooed it, but it just looks like watercolor, long before people started doing like trendy watercolor tattoos.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. She
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
look quite like that anymore. She's been, like I said, she went through some changes.
That's one of the things I like to talk about with a lot of my collectors. Is like, even with men whose bodies go from like super fit and like bodybuilder types,
Mhm.
like
To,
sometimes
like,
they
dad
put weight
bod.
on, or
Mhm.
sometimes it's the other way around.
Yeah.
And that, like, the consideration of like drawing things to fit the muscles or to fit
Mhm.
how the body moves and flows. When you consider your tattoo designs like that, no matter how the body changes, the tattoo is going to change with the body.
Exactly.
If
It's
you
all
just
organic.
slap it on somewhere and it's like going against whatever part that it's on,
Mhm.
well, any change, it's going to look even more awkward than it already looks.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of magic in like
Placement.
working with the organic natural flow of the body, because then as your body changes, the tattoo just grows and changes with you.
Mhm.
There's really a lot of magic in that, and that's what makes tattoos stand the test of time. And
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
this was my second tattoo. Yeah, this was my second tattoo from Conan, my second big one. And I said, just do the whole back if you want. And he chose to do just kind of the lower 2/3. But I wanted a corset, and he wanted to do something Alphonse Mucha inspired, and he sketched a couple of different versions, and I just fell in love with this one. And he wanted to leave the holes of the corset blank, but I insisted they be gems because he had been doing these gorgeous jewelry tattoos. Again, just so ahead of his time. I mean, no one was doing jewelry tattoos back then. So I said, I want gems like you're doing.
Nice.
And I think it makes it. I love it.
Yeah,
And then
that
the
looks
side
awesome.
pieces do wrap around to the front. That was fun. And so I do have like the curls of the side pieces, like all the way in the front of my ribs. But it was a big commitment of time and pain and blood.
Did you know what you were getting into when you committed to your back piece?
Not really, but I knew I loved it, and I
Mhm.
knew that like every tattoo I got made me feel more like myself, and like I loved everything about it. So I was ready. And I love it. I'm still never seen a tattoo quite like it. I mean, it's not really a type, It's
Right.
just
It's really
unique.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, one of the things you said is that you and he were pulling inspiration from like jewelry, Art
Yeah.
Nouveau jewelry.
Yeah.
One of the things I really like about pulling inspiration from things like jewelry and sculpture and carvings, like I spend a lot of time in cemeteries as well. Like if you can look at antique jewelry and like old architecture, there's just a language to all those shapes, like they all have purpose, but they
Mhm.
all have such beautiful flow, and they make things look timeless, and they
Yeah.
make things look elegant. I'm just drawn to all of those shapes, whether we're talking like structured geometric shapes, like cut stones, and then the like, I want to call them like buttresses that come out, like in architecture, that's what it would be. But in like the prongs that set stones, like some of those sometimes are even carved, and like
Yeah.
each piece and angle is considered to be beautiful. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to take the time to make it and carve it by hand, you might as well make every angle beautiful and with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of those things I really like about old architecture and old jewelry. And you don't see it a lot outside of those two places. So it's
Mhm.
really cool to, hear that specifically that's where you were pulling
Mhm.
inspiration out for such a big piece of your body. It's
Yeah.
like those dainty little delicate, beautiful things that most of the time people overlook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we did that, and then immediately after we finished that, you know, he and I had traveled a lot together. We had spent a lot of time together, not just tattooing, but going to conventions and, you know, traveling and all that. And so during those conversations, we talked about favorite books, and the C.S. Lewis Chronicles of Narnia were always like my favorite books growing up. Those 7 books, they're written for children, but there's so much spirituality and depth in them too. And some of which I don't really go for, but they're great stories. Just
Yeah.
And the main character, Aslan, is more than just a lion. It's,
Mhm.
it's like the divine in leonine form, right? And so I knew I wanted that tattoo. I didn't know where. I thought maybe on one of my arms. And he drew it as a chess piece. And the second I saw it, I was like, when can we start? Like, I didn't make a single modification. It was perfect.
Nice.
And my chest, and like, that's such obviously huge real estate, especially for a woman,
Mhm.
because I was making a commitment, and I work in the business world. I was in a 9 to 5, you know, corporate environment. So I had to keep it covered. And I've always had to keep all my tattoos covered, and literally until this year, which is crazy. But yeah, there he is. And so anyway, he painted it on me, you know, and it was amazing. We did like layer after layer after layer, and just kept going back. And
That's awesome.
yeah, it's still probably one of my all-time favorite tattoos. I just love it so much.
Yeah, that's
My
beautiful.
one regret, if I could change anything, and I could ultimately go to Conan and do this, the very top of the tattoo is the lion's fur.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So if I wear just a little bit of a V-neck, it basically just looks like I have a hairy chest.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so, like, in
That's funny.
hindsight, I would have put like a crown of flowers at the top, so that if I wear a slight V-neck, you could at least just see flowers. But so usually either all of him shows or none of him. Either I wear like, you know, something very low cut, or I just have it covered and it's just for me.
Yeah.
So most of my
I mean, you've got some
Well, it's
space
awesome.
there at like your collarbones and shoulders. You could
I
just
mean,
like pull
it's-
something
it just
graceful
lo-
from each shoulder
Could
down.
always do
Yeah.
more.
yeah. Trust me,
Yeah.
I will.
Pull some like
I will.
scroll work down and forward, and then put a glow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have to go up onto your neck, but it would like open up.
Yeah. I definitely have plans to do more.
Nice.
Yeah. Lots more.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyway, so Conan was my first, and I got tattooed by Michelle Wertman twice
Nice.
at this tattoo show, actually in Massachusetts.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Have you been to Hyperspace?
No,
Okay.
just been tattooed
Just
by
at the
her
show?
at conventions. Yeah, she did back of my neck in 2001, and then she did my foot in 2002, and that was a great experience. And then-
Is that sarcasm? You didn't enjoy the foot tattoo so much.
you know what?
That was like,
I was on such a high during, and especially getting tattooed at a convention, like with everyone walking by, the energy, like I was actually fine getting it, but that one was very, very painful to heal. No, I mean, I couldn't wear any shoes at all, or socks or anything. I just had to and I was at a hotel, you know, at a convention. I had to somehow get to an airport, fly home without any shoe on. It was, yeah, that was painful, but it was great. I love that tattoo.
Did it swell real bad on you?
It did.
One of my feet never swelled,
Ooh,
like
yeah,
hardly at
ow.
all. The other foot swelled like crazy.
Yeah, this one definitely it puffed up big time.
It was my left one that swelled as well. I wonder
Yeah.
if there's a correlation.
I don't know, maybe.
If there's something about the left side that swells more. I don't know.
I don't know either. But yeah, so I had her do that. Then soon after that, I had Derb do my it always bothered me that I had a back piece on 2/3 of my back, you know, and I had this big open space at the top that had a couple of little sticker tattoos, but I wanted them covered. And every time I went to an artist and said, hey, can you do a double cover up, fill this top of my back, they'd be like,
It's so much space.
and just the nature of the cover up, they just, I had a lot of hesitation. Even Conan, I mean, I love him and he's a great artist, but he was like, yeah, I don't think I could do a good job. And so then I showed it to Derb at Hell City, the first ever Hell City. I walked up to him and said, hey, would you ever do a double cover up with this? I had over on the left side, I had a pretty big piece, and then I had fate down the middle of my spine. And Derb was like, yeah, I could cover that up, no problem. And I'm like, I'm thinking Japanese traditional, like a koi fish. And he was like, yep, no problem.
I've started calling that Durbanese.
It is basically
Durbanese.
Durbanese. Yeah.
Durbanese. I started Japanese
Yeah.
leg sleeve on my buddy. And he's like, what are you working on? I was like, oh, we're doing a Durbanese koi.
Yes, that's so true. But yeah, I mean, I love it. And yeah, the rocks are dark over on the left side, but to me, it doesn't scream cover up. And I just think he did an amazing job. And it was a great experience getting tattooed by him. So
No, he does such a good job. Like that's dark, but he's got all that motion around it.
Yeah.
And then that sweep of water.
water.
So it like gives motion and pulls your eye away from the
Mhm.
dark. But like if it wasn't for that dark, your eye might not catch like all the bright that's going on the other side.
Right. And those purple swirls, which I love. Yeah.
Derb swirls.
Derb swirls.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love what he does with the purples in the sky. Like he follows so many traditional rules, but when you get to how he uses color, that he just breaks them all. It's like, oh, well, that's going to be a nice traditional piece, nice outline.
Yeah.
And then he comes in with the crazy alien color, and it's like, oh, that's definitely not a traditional Japanese piece anymore. That is Durbanese.
Yep. for sure. Yeah. So after this, I took like a 10-year break from tattoos. I knew I was eventually going to come back, but I just was having a kid and, and then I came back. I got a small piece over at Sacred Hand from Bisou, and then I got another small piece on my arm from Janine Ramos, who's relatively new to Columbus, from California. And then I got a big upper stomach piece from Big Mies.
What's that stomach?
It's
What's that
girl
tattoo
power.
say?
Nice.
Girl power.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I think we got a picture of it. It's that's one of my favorites. I love it. I didn't have any black and gray anywhere. I was all bright colors. And so to have this big giant, black and gray piece is cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a good choice too. Anytime I very, very seldom mess around with lettering anymore, but there was a time when I did, and Big Mies was always like one of the ones that I would look at because I like the way that he combines, like he's got his natural hand, like his natural calligraphy is very beautiful and elegant. Like his traditional hand is beautiful.
Oh, that's.
But I love what
in
he
the
does
works,
with the
yeah.
big block letters.
Yeah.
Like I love that he juxtaposes the two together so
and
well.
The fact
and he
that
turns
the
words
girl
into art.
is white space, negative space, because that's me. Like I'm the girl. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
so
that looks awesome.
it's like,
Did you put a picture of it finished?
yeah,
on there?
there is. You keep scrolling, you'll find it. But yeah, that was just the first sitting.
Nice.
That might even just be halfway through the first sitting. I don't know. He goes hard. I told him we were done like a couple of times in our final sitting.
And he was like, okay, no, we're not.
And yeah, he was like, no. And then when I saw what he had done these tiny pinstripes in every letter. And when I saw them, I was like, oh my God, you were right. We weren't done. Like I thought we were, but it looks amazing.
Our coworker, Keith, Cam, just got a back piece started with Big Mies. And he won't
Nice.
show it to anybody.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He it's going to be a surprise. Like, man, come on. I went in on the secret.
Right.
That's cool.
So I can't wait to see what he's doing on him.
Yeah.
But I wish he'd show us.
I
wish he'd share
know.
with us what was going on.
Nice. Sandy says she might be missing the
Oh,
finished photo
I'll have
of
to-
your stomach.
I'll
If you have
send it.
one, yeah. But
Yeah.
if
I
it's-
definitely
If it's
do.
too deep in there, it's
No,
all good.
I-
But it looks super dope finished. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome to show it.
Yeah. I love it. I'll definitely find one.
I should have my phone out for communication purposes too.
And that was
That's
my
all right.
last tattoo, but I do have an appointment in the next 2 weeks with my next artist to do a full sleeve.
Ooh, what you getting?
A tropical daydream.
Is this what we'll be consulting
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
ooh,
for? So I didn't even
ooh.
realize that we had I already had her on my schedule for a consultation when I
Yeah.
reached out.
It's funny how
It's like,
that,
oh.
that works.
Oh, I hadn't connected the dots. Yeah, so work out great.
Yeah.
This will work out super good.
Oh, you know what? She's right. I didn't send a final one. That's crazy.
Look at us
Can-
being
can you get-
interactive
can
on the
you get both of
Instagram.
us in there.
Maybe.
I'm
We're
sure-
gonna get a better.
I'm
angle
sure they
for this.
love just looking right at my face.
Bam.
Just like sound
Two
like-
in one picture.
There we go.
If I like scoot it up to the table, we could be in the same
I mean, I don't mind.
angle.
I guess.
It's like just resting on the two of you the whole time. Jordan, you got any appointments coming up?
I've got a lot of appointments. I've got a lot of cool projects that are going
I meant
on right now.
for your tatties.
Oh, nope. I need to actually get a hold of the guy and schedule my next sessions.
How's
I
your
just,
armpit healing up?
I'm just in money mode right now, so I've just been trying to save, but I got to get that day in the book.
How's that armpit healing up?
Oh, it's all healed.
I walked up the stairs. Our buddy Adam made a surprise visit to Red Tree for a week, and Jordan snuck in for like a half session. I walked up the back stairs, and he was holding it together pretty well, but he was really, really hating life.
Oh,
They
That
weren't
armpit-
in the
that
armpit, but
sucked.
like they were like up close beside the armpit.
I've heard that around the
There it
outside. Oh yeah,
is.
no, she finally. sorry.
Nice. Thanks, Sandy. You're on it, girl.
Yeah,
Oh, we're on that one. Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it.
Yep.
Those the tiny little pinstripes in the middle of each
Mhm.
letter. That was that final step that I was like, no, I'm done. And he was like, nope, you're not.
Nope, we got one more little.
Yeah, and it totally makes it. I
Mhm.
love it so much.
Yeah,
That's really
his
cool.
his lettering's beautiful.
Yeah. So I saved my arms. Like I tried to pace myself with my whole canvas, and I saved my arms and my legs for last. And so now I get to have some fun, and because my whole front is done, my whole back is done. Other than just around the top of the shoulders, probably going down into the sleeves.
Nice.
Then
Nice.
what a
Filling it up.
privilege to add to this collection.
I'm excited.
What a privilege it's going to be. You've got a lot of amazing artists that have worked on you already. So
Thanks. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to be back into it because now I'm just, so much was holding me back before, my career and
Mhm.
like feeling like I had to keep it all under wraps. And, now I just feel like because I'm doing my own thing and I'm just getting to an age where who's going to mess with me? Like I'm 50 now.
Mhm.
Like no one's going to.
when you finally realize you don't really answer to anybody.
Yes. It's so freeing.
Mhm.
It's wonderful. So
Yep.
now I'm just going to leave it up. And even family elements who were somewhat against tattoos are just kind of not as influential anymore, and and maybe softening in their views too. So
Yeah. I think, one of the things by collecting nice work from like really good artists who approach tattooing like fine art, we have the opportunity and the privilege to be the people to change other people's minds.
yeah,
We have the opportunity and privilege to be the one to like show off a tattoo to somebody who's never even considered tattoos and always disliked them, and have them
Mhm.
like look at it and be like, oh wow, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
it's kind of magic when you see it happen. It's magic when and I can't really like put into words what it is that changes in a person, but when they go from like unaccepting to, oh wow, that is cool. Like when you just see like distaste to,
Happy Thursday.
oh, thanks, Siri.
Yeah. Thanks.
I totally know what you mean, though. My mom used to be fairly judgmental about tattoos until she found out that I was heavily tattooed, and I was pretty heavily tattooed before I told my parents.
Mhm.
I just kept it under wraps, and we didn't have social media back then, so there was nothing for them to see. And when I finally showed my mom, she was pretty shocked, but she also was like, "Wow, they're beautiful. Like objectively, they're art." And I was like, "That's the point." And she then became the person who, when a heavily tattooed individual would show up at their church, and didn't know anybody, she'd be the one to like rush right over and like shake the person's hand and like say, "Hey, nice tattoos, and welcome to the church." And
Mhm.
thinking of my little mom, cute little older lady with silver hair doing that is just, it tickles me. I love it.
when it gets to a point where it's not even like where they don't even have to like look past them, but they're
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing what they are. Like, oh, you have tattoos
Well, yeah,
too.
it
Let
goes
me
from
see.
like tolerance to appreciation to like celebration,
Yeah, that's a really cool transition to see other people go through.
Definitely.
I've definitely experienced that with my own family. My mom and my stepdad were not tattooed. I grew up in a household where like nobody had tattoos.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah. Same.
Same.
Definitely.
but now my mom's like, she brags about who I've been worked on by. Like
Nice.
now that like,
She knows the names and
she traveled down to Ink and Dagger with me on one of my, not my very last appointment, but one of my last appointments. So she got to like, it's hard. It's almost hard for family to see how special things can be sometimes when
Mhm.
they're like right in it. And like, all they see is me stressing about emails and stressing about this, that, or the other. Is this Amazon? What's going on?
Yeah. Just hanging out there. I guess I'll
Chilling.
be back.
Jordan's got a package. Maybe
somebody-
it's something expensive.
yeah. Did somebody send donuts?
Right, that'd be awesome. But it's definitely a thing in my family. Now that my mom's traveled with me and she's seen like how there is like a whole community in tattooing, and it's like a whole, integrated family. And there are so many people that are a part of it, and we all have so much respect for each other. And like among tattooers, we all learn from each other, but as collectors, we're learning from one another
sure.
too.
And I love that it transcends like age, gender, nationality, orientation, race. Like it's like, it's like a great unifier.
Yep. It took like not tattooing for 11 years, but taking my mom down to like another state and another, one of the best studios around for her to be like, oh, wow, this really is a special thing. And this is, like, it's not just a thing that she does to make money. Like it finally made sense to her that like, I'm passionate about tattooing, just like I'm passionate about making art. It's not like I settled to be a tattooer, because that's how she always described it up until recently, that like, oh, she's a fine artist, but she just tattoos because she makes good money at it. And it's like, no, like I really love what I'm doing, and I'm trying to do things that nobody else is doing with it. Like I'm trying to learn from the best and do even more. Like
the tattoo is the fine art.
That's
like,
pretty special.
Yeah.
But finally, after like traveling down and like hearing Russ talk about Derb and the high esteem that they hold Derb and Red Tree in, she finally got it. She finally got that like this is the special thing. This is what artists wish they could do. And it's like it took me getting all the way there and having her like just happen to go with me. Like, would you like to go to Georgia? It's gonna be good weather. And like that's finally what made her like actually see it as like something special and not something that I was just like, oh, she just settled to be a tattooer. She's actually an artist. She's just doing this because it pays the bills. Like I could never get her to understand how that like cut me at the knees. Like, like this so is a thing. Yeah. But well, and it changes. It changes does. Is what I'm getting at. Is it took a long time, but the change happened, and now she sees like I'm not settling to make fine art on the skin. I'm celebrating making fine art on the skin. Yeah. So she's gone from like oh, this is the thing she does, to like celebrating it right along with me. So it's a cool change that finally happened, but it took a really long time. Yeah, it took a long time. But as a collector, she finally also understands like why it's so special to have the people work on me who I've been privileged enough to have work on me. Like these are not only tattooers that I look up to, but these are like color smiths that I look up to. Like if you've listened to any past episode and we start talking about color theory, I start nerding out. So when my brain is just drawn to color and how it works, like who else am I going to look up to more than Russ Abbott? And then we were talking earlier about how I'm drawn to like ornamental shapes and antique jewelry. So let's look at that. Who else am I going to look up to besides Russ Abbott? So there's just two huge influential things that Russ and I have in common. And I just always wanted to collect something from him or just be around him to learn from him. So like, I'm just using that as, all of my tattoos have been learning experiences for me, but like, that's just an example of like, why we choose the artists that we choose, those magic things that just kind of line up within our personalities that like draw us to an artist, But
yeah.
So what was going on out front, Jordan?
Freaking Amazon lady just knocking up a storm.
Like the police?
Yeah, I was like, that was like.
Were you like, lady?
She's probably sitting there.
We're recorded
and going like, what are these fucking
people. I'm right here.
I can hear them
It's the
talking.
fucking-
They're just
right.
ignoring me.
Well, the funny thing
Exactly.
is
Oh,
there's
man.
a painting in front of Jordan's door, so you can't even
It's
like
a
use his front door at all.
100%. Oh, we don't got an angle of it, but 100% blocked.
Yeah, he couldn't
100% blocked.
answer
I
the
gotta walk all the
door.
way around my house.
He'd
to my
have to
front
move
door.
the couch and a painting.
And like the painting is a 9-foot piece of plywood.
It's an 85-pound painting. Takes 2 people.
Yeah, and I went out there barefoot.
Was it
cold,
technology we've been waiting on?
So I'm still settling back down from that. It was that little plasma ball.
Excellent. We've been waiting on this
Oh
for
my
a
gosh.
whole 2 days.
Right.
That's a long time in these Amazon days.
When we need a plasma ball for the
Sound
mothership.
activated plasma ball. That'll be
Sitting right here.
You
Going
can see it in the image.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yes. It'd be perfect. We can see it from every angle.
That will be very
That's what we
cool.
need.
Right now.
More toys, more lights.
Always, always. Every room color controlled,
Mm-hmm.
voice
Nice.
controlled.
We're getting there. We're starting to be grown-ups with this thing. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cameras are a lot more to mind. So like it's a lot for us 3. I feel, or us 2, to like think about all that. Keep it
we're
all
getting there. We'll
We're
get more
getting there.
fluid with it.
getting there.
Big improvements.
But Jordan, you asked about the doula thing in the beginning, and I kind of went off on a tangent as we do. But yeah, so
We
I
like
lo-
to call those rabbit holes.
yes, we went down
Yeah.
a couple of rabbit holes. They were good ones. But the doula idea
down,
of just this
back to
person
rebel.
who's kind of, you know, a friend and a supporter and a coach, and gets you through whatever you're going through. But I was like, is there such a thing as a tattoo doula? Because you kind of need that sometimes, you know. Just a friend that's heavily tattooed that can, you know, help you find the right artist, help you. And sometimes artists do all the things that a tattoo doula can do, but sometimes the artist doesn't have time, or
Mhm.
or the client is just really needy, and the artist is just like, nope. Like my dream ultimately is for artists to refer those, you know, whatever problem clients or just needier clients to me, so I can help, you know, help them and help you at the same time, like help
Right.
the artist and help the client. Because sometimes people just
Right,
don't
be-
have that
Be
person in their
something,
life.
be something of like a consultant a little bit to the,
Mhm.
Yeah,
to it, but also
exactly.
just like the doula, you know, someone
Exactly.
just to help
Just-
you through.
literally
process
and
if you need somebody
figuratively
else.
hold your hand. Like if you know, if you need a hand to squeeze while you're getting tattooed, that, and if you just need someone to bounce ideas off of in addition to your artist, then that. So far I've only done it for friends. It's really just kind of a fun thing I threw up on the side as a way to share all my tattoo content, like photos of my tattoos. And
Yeah, I think
Just-
it's developing really cool. Like
Thanks.
it's really awesome. And it
But-
looks really like tattoo professional too.
Oh,
like it's,
thank you.
know,
the goal is
fun to look
educating, right? Just
Right.
educating people.
that's
like,
that's what it looks like. It comes off like that.
A lot of tattooers forget that not everybody knows the etiquette. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So it's
yes.
sometimes people are like, I mean, I've gotten the email where it's like, hey, I don't have any tattoos and I don't know where to start, but like, I kind of want this, this, and this, but I don't know how to draw or tell you that. And it's like, oh, you just told me everything I need to know. Good job.
Mhm.
But sometimes, you know, they don't realize it's just that easy
Yeah.
to be like, hey, I've never done this before. I don't know what to do, but like, I am serious. You know, sometimes people will hit me up totally wrong. They'll be like, what's up? I want tatted. And
Right.
like, you've already come off at me wrong.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you just kind of disrespected something that takes like, you know, a lot of my passion. You know,
Exactly.
okay, let's hear your tat idea.
Mhm.
You know, like I'd totally rather somebody just be like, hey, I don't know what's up. What do I do now?
Yeah.
And then I'll say, well, here's some new materials. It'll be this long for our consultation, and we'll talk about everything then.
Mhm.
You know, but some people don't know it's that easy. But artists are funny. Like sometimes we're really hard to communicate with.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes we're overwhelmed. Other times we're just like not communicators. You know what I mean? We draw
Exactly.
pictures and we daydream. So like it
That-
takes a little bit of patience and finesse, but like
Yeah. And some
Yeah.
artists, I mean, just like any profession, some people are just not people, right? And so you can be an amazing artist and just not be a people person,
Mhm.
either because you're shy or, you know, introverted or whatever. You just, you know,
That's
I mean-
actually something for a lot of people to consider is the introvert aspect because a lot of artists, you know, we're weirdos. Like we're all weirdos for whatever reason. But a lot of artists really, you know, they could be an amazing artist, but have social anxiety. So
Exactly.
they get nervous before every single tattoo because they're meeting somebody new,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where like for me, when I have a consultation day coming up, it's like, okay, I'm going to meet like 6 or 8 new people today. Like I'm excited because I don't know what's happening. But like on the day of our appointments, usually I'm well prepared and I know exactly who I'm dealing with and
Mhm.
what we're doing. And but for some artists, there's that anxiety before every person,
Yeah, of course.
you know, just something to keep in mind. Like, well, artists are weird. Be patient with us,
Yeah.
you know?
People are weird, period.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Be
Absolutely.
patient. Be patient with one another.
Mm-hmm.
So as a doula, like, so let's say somebody hit you up and they're like, hey, they're saying exactly what we're talking about.
Mhm.
Hey, I've never been tattooed before. I want to get a back piece.
Right. So my goal is to get them to think about it holistically and just strategically. So think about not just the tattoo, but like their entire life. Like what's their career? What's their, path as far as do they want to, get married, have kids, all of that. Like think about your whole life as much as you can and just be planful and mindful and strategic about it. And, if you want to be in, a TV anchor, then you're not going to get a face tattoo probably. Right. So just, as simple as that, but also, just helping people think through, don't necessarily go small just because you think you just want a small tattoo. Think about your body, think about your anatomy, just trying to get people to like broaden back from just I want a tattoo because I think it's cool to like thinking of it as an art form,
Mhm.
thinking of it as, something that will be with you forever, longer than most relationships in your life, longer than any job, and just getting them to kind of put all that thought into it. And sometimes people are willing to, and sometimes people are like, no, I just want a cool tattoo right now. And that's fine too. Being both ways of collecting are fine, right? There's not, I'm not judging. I judge a tiny
But
bit.
being there to help people see the full circle and seeing every
So
way
that
around
if
how
they
you can
want
tackle
to-
this in all different directions.
So that if they want to go that route, they
A lot of
can.
people only know a certain way. So
Exactly.
it's nice to be there for people. Like that's why we're doing this, because so many people jump into tattoos thinking about
Exactly.
like what their idea of a tattoo is, and that's cool. Like you have your idea of it, and then you come in and realize, like, we show you some other things and are able to open your mind. Oh yeah, we're just here to open your mind more about more tattoos.
Exactly.
There's more out there than what you probably know.
Yes, more styles, more types, more. Yeah.
One of the things I've started doing with some of my clients, because I've got a lot of clients that like I've done multiple sleeves. Things are starting to connect. So now, much earlier in the process, I'm starting to like have the conversation. How covered do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I feel like even if you're not going for a bodysuit, even if you're not going, and I always say it's not a race. So even if you are going for full coverage, that for some people, that's a lifetime journey.
Sure.
That's not a 5-year journey.
Mm-hmm.
But much earlier on, I feel like I'm starting to ask people, like, do you imagine 2 sleeves? Do you imagine like, are you going to get your legs tattooed? Like, is this going to go onto your torso? And it's always like, even if you don't imagine me being the one to do it, like, let's consider it so that everything can be cohesive and flow together. And that's just because like the way I planned my collection, it's really coming together as I go, but I kind of have this overall vision of everything just kind of tying into one another and being a cohesive suit, being a cohesive thing. Not that I'm chasing, like, I don't need to do it by any certain time, but I just want it to look like these artists worked together. I want it to look like as if you couldn't tell who worked on me when or where. Like I want it to all just be one cohesive arrangement.
Yeah. That's how I want my tattoos to be too, moving forward. And, I have friends who are the opposite. I had a friend who's in the military, and her big thing is anytime she goes to a new city or a new place, she gets a tattoo there from anyone. She doesn't care what. And like, so it's just, and then after she has all those miscellaneous, travel souvenirs, then she has someone kind of weave a background around them. That's a great way to, I mean, however you do it is, there's no
I have an
wrong
area
way.
of my body that I'm saving just for that.
Yeah.
So my left leg from the knee down is, I call it my sporadic.
Yeah.
So I have no plans on rushing to fill that area. I actually want to keep it open because I do have plans for my arms.
Mhm.
And one day I'll probably do my neck, but I'm not, I like my neck the way it is.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's about the only part of me that's not
Yeah.
spoken for. But anyway, so I'll always have the space from my knee down just to collect smaller pieces.
Yeah.
And, I want to collect from friends.
Yeah.
And I want to have those souvenir tattoos.
Mhm.
And I do like just like being in a city with a friend and being like, hey, we're at the convention together. I bet so-and-so's got time that they could squeeze us in.
Yeah. Yep.
I like the idea of not being finished.
Mhm.
It would be a sad day if I knew I was never going to be tattooed again. As much as I hate being tattooed, like,
Do you really?
oh, I hate it. It hurts. I
hate it
feel
too.
punished
Do you really?
afterwards.
I mean, I love it.
I
But
love
I
It is
also hate it.
cleansing,
Yeah.
but
I
the
do
pain
not
part
like
of
the
it
pain.
and the anxiety leading up,
I think it's worth it in the end.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously.
makes
but
my
like,
hands
I
sweat.
think I'm better off because of the pain in the end.
Yeah.
And I really wouldn't want to go through the tattoo process without it.
Yeah.
But on the other end, I also wish it didn't hurt.
I usually love the first hour.
Remember when I was talking about time traveling earlier?
Oh, yeah, that's a good use for it.
Let me
Um,
fast forward.
oh,
Just
yeah.
8 hours. That's all I need.
Yeah, I usually love the first hour, but then after that, I'm kind of with you. It's like-
Mhm.
especially, and we talked about at breakfast, especially as I get older. Since 40, you just wait. It's so much worse. My stomach almost killed me. I mean, I really did. It almost broke me.
I'm 35 and
My
my,
back-
belly's
my
the only
back
part
broke
of my
me.
torso
My
not done.
first day, my back broke me.
Yeah.
Broke you down. Hey, speaking of doulas, let me ask you this, Jordan. So I had the privilege of traveling over to hyperspace with Jordan when he got his back started. And I tried to walk the line of not like, I didn't want to like mother hen him too much and tell him what to do and like try to over prepare because like I didn't have that and I had to go through it on my own, and you learn a lot and you grow a lot from it. But like, do you think it was helpful having me there to like prepare you, or was it kind of on your nerves?
Oh no, I think it was helpful having someone there for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. For me, it's like anything that can take my mind off the pain. So having like another's presence
Mm-hmm.
there does help me a lot. I think as an artist, I don't know. It's nice when it's just like you and a client and like there's not always someone there like talking and stuff. But at the same time, it is nice to have the banter of someone else there, even as the artist, and like having another person's client there. But as the person getting tattooed, I really enjoy having someone else there.
Yeah,
I do.
I do too.
Like I think like I was honestly bummed when you like went off to go, like, go on walks and stuff. You're like, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, no, you're not bothering me.
Come back.
Stay.
Come back.
Stay.
Good. So what you're saying is there is a place for a tattoo doula
Yes.
for people who don't have that, tattoo best friend to come along.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, indeed.
I was like, make sure you eat breakfast, get some more carbs,
Hydrate.
do the things.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, especially I mean it's best going. I like going with experienced people too. who've
Yes.
already been through the ropes. They understand what it's like.
Yeah,
They know
exactly.
how to treat you.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna suck, but you're gonna be okay.
Right. Especially like when you're going through the pain, like and stuff, knowing like, okay, yeah, you've been through it, you understand what I'm going through right now.
Yeah. And
Because
all,
because you just don't. If you're watching someone get tattooed, you just don't feel any pain,
No.
obviously,
Mm-mm.
and you just do not get a sense of what that feels like
Yeah.
unless you've been through it.
Right,
Like, even
exactly.
even when I tattoo people, like if it's been a while since I've been tattooed, I'll
Mhm.
catch myself being like almost unempathetic about it and not really being able to relate to the pain until I'm feeling it again, and I'm just like, yep. Fuck this, and then I'm super empathetic for the next few
Yeah.
months
yeah.
until it wears off again.
Tattoo karma.
Mhm. Every tattoo artist needs to get tattooed. If you're not
Oh,
tattooed,
you're so right.
I
Conan
hope you're
didn't
just
have.
waiting to get the right tattoo.
Yeah, Conan didn't have any for years, and I would always ride him. Everyone wrote him about it. Finally, now he's got some.
It'll help you with your clients. It'll help
Yeah.
you with client comfort
Yep.
because it'll just
I'll never forget
help
though
you be easier
moving
on people.
from Conan's tattoo style to especially like a Derb who's like very hammer-handed. Like it's he. I mean, you feel it when Derb tattoos you. Conan, his style is just so painterly that especially on my ones on my front, I mean, it almost tickled more than anything
Mm-hmm.
else, you know. Now, the corset obviously packed in that color. It's solid color. So that I definitely felt more like, oh. But then, you know, it still was nothing compared to like just Derb style.
I hear
Is-
Derb's pretty gentle.
I mean, he's not rough,
I
but it's just, it didn't feel like a paintbrush.
hope it feels like a paintbrush when I work on you.
Oh, well,
It probably won't.
it'll
Are you
be
guys
great
doing
either
up
way.
here?
No, a full sleeve. Actually, this one. I keep saying my left, but it's my
Dang.
right.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I have nothing on that arm. I was going to do the left, but I have this little goofy Wonder Woman tattoo, and then I have another one right here. So I decided, no, you need the
That's awesome.
empty canvas.
Nice.
I'm
It's
excited.
a big
so
privilege.
excited.
You've got a great collection. It
I'm
makes me really
really-
excited to add to it.
It's just, it all came together. I'm very stoked.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize that you've been from your other Instagram handle. You've been following me for a long time.
I have, because I mean, I knew I was going to plant a sleeve at some point. I knew I wanted to be a woman. We talked a little bit about that this morning. No offense to male tattoos. I love all the tattoos that I have, but most of them have been done by men, except with a very few exceptions. And that's just because the industry is so male dominated and there's so many talented male artists, period. But there are also very many talented female artists, and I've never sought them out, even though in my life I tend to be all about girl power and feminism and, support women. And so it was crazy to me to realize, like, oh my God, like I literally got a girl power tattoo from a man.
Mhm.
Like what was I thinking? Like, and so again, just back to that whole, like, be strategic, think about your worldview, think about your, who you want to be tattooed by and all that. So yeah. So anyway, started looking at women, started narrowing it down, and then saw your work, and I was like, and actually it doesn't have to be women and non-binary. I just want to support, like,
Girl power.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's all. And I'm not saying I'll never be tattooed by men again, because if Conan ever had time on his schedule and called me, I'd go in a heartbeat.
But you had your experience there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time to go out to some feminine energy.
Exactly.
Ain't
Exactly.
nothing wrong with that. There's definitely always going to, you can't doubt. I mean, of course, men can be feminine, but you can't doubt there's going to be more feminine energy that's going to come
Yes.
from, a
Yes.
tattoo that's coming from someone
Exactly.
who definitely does have like a feminine, like mystical side
Mhm.
of work, and you see it, that's what you want. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it couldn't be more perfect for,
Yeah.
for the job.
I often forget how
It's
dominated
totally cool
the
to be as
industry
picky
is
as
by
you want
men.
for your tattoo.
I like my first tattoo was by a woman. So like for me, I just forget sometimes that
Mhm.
like it's kind of special, and like especially in like the early 2000s to be a woman and to be
Mhm.
like good. It took me a long time. My first tattoo took me a really long time to find the artist to do it. I knew what I wanted, and it was an Andy Warhol daisy. I got it really little on my hip. If I had it to do over, I would make it way bigger, but probably the same tattoo, but bigger, or
Mhm.
maybe the same tattoo in multiple colors because it's Warhol.
Mhm.
But anyways, it took forever just like searching all over Michigan, trying to find an artist, like a tattoo artist that was an artist. I wanted
Mhm.
somebody that wasn't, black outline colored in.
Exactly.
And not that there's anything wrong with that, but like being an artist myself, and like I would hate to wear something where if I look down at it, I would have the feeling like I could have done better than that myself.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So that was almost like an apprehension with my first tattoo.
Yeah.
So I found Carissa Gray, who like she does like this real bright, like good graffiti style
Mhm.
tattooing where like the sons were like had crookedy arms and crazy faces, but like the outlines were bold and crisp, like where it would be like a thick to thin line and like
Mhm.
solidly colored wall to wall, like. And then she also did a lot of like wall to wall saturated fractals that were just super bright colored. Like if I were to compare her to somebody, I didn't know who Derb was at the time, but if I were to compare her to somebody at that time, it would be like the kind of stuff that Derb was doing, like the crazy outer
Yeah.
space stuff, but just throw fractals in there too.
Nice.
So I found her, and that was a 75-mile drive from Ionia to Saugatuck, and she's in Douglas now, just outside of Saugatuck. But it was hard in those days. It was hard to find a really good like artist that
Mhm.
tattooed.
Let alone find one that was a woman too.
Yeah, it just so happened that she
Yeah.
was a woman.
Yeah.
So I wasn't specifically looking for a woman.
Mhm.
It just so happened that I found a woman. So, and then recently I've actually been working on her apprentice. She's actually a prolific established tattooer herself. Her name's Sam Dustin. She did a guest spot with us at Red Tree a few months ago. And she and I were talking about Carissa, and she was like filling me in on some of Carissa's early career. And it's like, man, she lived through the nightmare that I'm thankful that I avoided.
Mhm.
Like I got into it, and because I was self-taught and I did so much on my own, I really didn't have a lot of those opportunities for men to say, sit down, little girl.
Right.
So like when I get asked questions about like how hard it was coming up to be a female, you know, I only had a few little tastes of that. So for
Mhm.
me, it's really a non-issue. I've been surrounded by really good artists,
Mhm.
male or female. So I'm really privileged in that way. But like, I also know that I'm privileged in that way.
Mhm.
Not all women have it as easy as I did. Not all women like made it through their tattoo career without crazy sexual harassment stories,
Right.
or, you know, being made to feel you're less than because
Mhm.
of this, that, or the other.
Mhm.
So I feel like that's why I'm so like, I've got to be a cheerleader for other females now. Like,
Right.
because I did have it easy, I need to push them. And a lot of times, like, there are a lot of female tattooers in Columbus who like, you might not even know I'm in your corner. You might not even know that I'm like sending work your way that I've been following that I know you're going to knock out of the
Mhm.
park. But like, I don't know. It is just a little bit of the girl power in me. Like I do want to like push the
Yeah,
girls ahead a little
of
bit
course.
more, but you know, it takes the work. And I think that's the thing that's helped me avoid a lot of those pitfalls, I guess. You know, I'm not the kind of girl to spend a lot of time or energy on my makeup or hair, clearly, like from the dreadlocks and usually like pillow face that I walk in with. But there are definitely a lot of pitfalls, and you know, to hear years later that like Carissa lived through all of those and like
Mhm.
passed on a little bit of magic to me that somehow I think like I skated by and didn't deal with a lot of that.
Mhm.
It, you know, I'm usually not the kind of feminist to be out front and complain. I'm the kind of feminist that just like puts my nose to the grindstone and says, you know, I'll show you. Like
Mhm.
say I can't and I'll show you.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, it's not even a male or female thing for me. It's like, oh, you don't think I can do it? Well, that's foolish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then being a collector, once I started collecting big work, I even forget that I'm kind of like out of my element walking around and like hanging out with all these men with bodysuits. Like sometimes I'll be in a group of like 5 or 6 men. We'll all be showing off our leg sleeves. And like I go to take my shirt off and it's like, well, I'm just one of the guys here. But sometimes I forget that I'm the only woman in the group. We get
Mhm.
like so excited that we're showing stuff off. And it's just like, for me, a lot of times a non-factor that I'm the only woman, but that's not the story for a lot of other collectors. Do you think it's been like because you've been in a lot of tattoo competitions and stuff. Do you think the tattoo competitions are different for women than men?
I mean, maybe I can tell you that at every tattoo convention I've ever been, like it's just very objectifying. Like there's the whole place is like the male gaze, right? Like it's just the whole tattoo industry is so male dominated that like usually most shops will have like a very attractive, very slim, incredible bodied, incredibly tattooed young girl at the front as like the shop, you know,
Mhm.
person at the front desk. And it's just so stereotypical. It's like at practically every shop. And then you go to conventions and, you know, the competitions, not so much. I mean, the competitions, best chest is best chest, whether it's male or female. I don't, you know, sometimes they separate it out, sometimes they don't.
Mhm.
So in the competitions, I don't find this as much of an issue, but it's more like the entertainment. Like it's, you know, female dancers or whatever, or the Suicide Squad or, you know, whatever, models everywhere. Like it's,
So our buddy Ben, you've been to Hell City,
Yeah, of
obviously,
course,
right?
yeah.
So our buddy Ben, he's one of Derb's like camera guys, and he helps with the AV
Mhm.
stuff. He helps with everything around Red Tree too. His birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Ben. But he has an idea to do what he calls a burlesque.
Nice. I like
So
it.
when Hell City comes back, there's probably going to be a burlesque
That's very cool.
performance.
And by the way, I'm not necessarily complaining. I'm more observing, I think. Like, it's not that I mind those things. It's just that I notice it and kind of go, okay. Like, as a woman, how do I feel about this? You know, but I'm not complaining. I love tattoo conventions and I love, the tattoo industry. And it's just, yeah, I want to see the female artist rise on their merit, but maybe just be supported by collectors like me who for whom this is important. Some people just, it won't matter, gender isn't going to be an issue in their tattoo, but for me, I just want to, support more women.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Have you ever been tattooed by a woman?
No.
I'll be your first.
Ooh.
All the privileges.
All the
Yeah.
privileges.
All the privileges.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of a cool thing. I've been tattooed by Layla D'Amato. She's from Detroit, maybe just outside of Detroit. Future Laser Tiger. Does that sound right? Future Laser Tiger.
That sounds familiar. but I'm
And
not
don't you
sure.
have some Michelle Wortman too?
No, just
Yeah.
Guy.
Oh, okay.
That guy did my armpits.
Got it. Okay. For some reason, I thought you did. Getting tattooed by her was amazing because she just had such a, like, the whole like Bloom project was just taking off, and she was, all about flowers. And I didn't want a flower, I wanted a mermaid, but she was like super into it, and I just felt like it was just a really cool experience. She vibed off a lot of the same things I vibed off, and it just was felt very fun and collaborative. Just in a different way than I had collaborated with Conan before. So
This isn't tattoo related, but one of the things I love about Michelle and like Michelle and Guy together in particular is the way they like enunciate in their word choice when they speak to each other and when they speak to Kaya. I think they both have a very like concise. I don't even want to say vocabulary choice, but just the way they communicate. I love it. They're so incredibly efficient with their word usage and clear at the same time. They say the most with the fewest
I've
words.
had one experience with the both of them at Kaya.
It can be a handful. It can be a handful. Last time we were there, Kaya climbed the back of my Cadillac and Guy like freaked out. He's like, Kaya, that is a very expensive car. And I'm like, it's just a car. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh
He's
my
like,
God.
Kaya.
I remember last time I was there, Kaya and Michelle kept changing the Spotify station while we were working to
Nice.
Christmas music.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And they eventually broke the Spotify
Oh no.
because they did it, and then he couldn't change back to his playlist, and he was so upset by
Oh
it. And
no.
he was like really upset, but
So
it was really funny because it just went from like silly games to like, oh shit, now we can't listen to music.
Tattooing to Christmas music is that's not it.
It was funny. It was silly. It was silly.
back when I worked retail, like after the first week after Thanksgiving, I was over Christmas music. It was enough.
I believe it.
I like it like the first week, kind of jingly,
Mhm.
nostalgic,
Hmm.
and then it's like, oh,
Luckily, Victoria's Secret, their Christmas music was their own mix, and it was like this like mellow club trancey version of all the Christmas songs. So it was like a mellow EDM Christmas at Victoria's
That's really
Secret
cool.
back there.
That's
So it
funny.
wasn't bad.
I have a Christmas...
Speaking of girl power,
Yeah. There you
before
go.
I tattooed, would you have known that I was a panty pusher?
Oh.
Black suit, pink
I-
shirt,
I would not have known.
hair
No,
up,
definitely would
pink
not have
eyeshadow.
called it.
Yeah.
You must have an awesome lingerie drawer.
Absolutely not. I'm like cotton panties. I'm all about comfort, girl. Half the time I don't even wear a bra.
What a
Even
waste,
when I worked there,
what
half
a
the time I
waste
didn't even wear
to
a bra.
work there and waste the discount.
Now, lotions and fragrances,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can talk all day.
Okay. All right. Got some angels, Victoria's Secret angels going.
They have a fragrance called Body. It's their most natural fragrance. It's chocked full of like hyacinth and white lily. So it's a very fresh, clean spring kind of fragrance.
Nice.
And it's also the fragrance that they use. They've got like a laundry detergent for like your delicates, and
Mhm.
it's the same fragrance as that. So it's just a clean floral. It's a good one.
nice.
I can talk about
haven't-
See, I
fragrances
don't-
all
I don't
day if we
to-
go
I
down
don't
that
to-
rabbit
I
hole.
don't shop at Abercrombie for anything at all, but I buy up their cologne all day.
Really?
Hmm.
I've never smelled it. I'll have to check it out.
I buy it up.
I have not set foot in a Victoria's Secret since like the 90s, I think.
It would have been, what years would I have been working there? Like 05, 06,
Okay.
05, 06, 04, 05, 06, maybe in there. Yep. Traveled, set up a bunch of stores up in Michigan. The one that's at Easton now, the big
The
the
fancy one?
flagship one,
Yeah.
I helped set that up.
Nice. That one always looks like $1 million.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
That's like one of the crown jewels of the
Mhm.
stores.
Nice.
I don't know what's going on with that company now though.
Oh,
I've
I
been
know.
removed for so long.
Yeah. It's
But when I worked there, it was a great company. They did a lot of really philanthropic things,
Mhm.
a lot of really good charities that we had the option to contribute to or not.
Interesting.
But I felt really good working for that company when I worked for them. So
I would have never known.
I know,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I would have never known.
all the things.
What's the job you've had that we would be surprised by, Jordan?
I've had one job
Seriously?
outside of tattooing.
Oh my God.
And that was working at a ski resort.
I could see that.
I've done a lot of different little things and stuff, landscaping and stuff. Always had my like little businesses before I was
Mhm.
18, like, walking around my lake with like lawnmowers and stuff as a kid
Yeah.
and shit like that. And-
Yeah.
But in terms of like, I was able to skip out on all like the 16-year-old McDonald's stuff and all like that. I just had no money at all for a long
Okay.
time. So like, I was lucky enough to just get by on nothing. So I just propelled me to do art. And so I feel like that time most people spent working, I spent just making a lot of art.
Mhm.
Didn't make any money from my art, didn't make any money doing anything. But I also jumped into tattooing, right when I was 18. So I guess I was making like enough to survive,
Hmm.
from that, not tattooing legally off the bat like I should have.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have any weird job stories.
We're gonna have to change that.
Hell no.
I'm gonna be signing Jordan up on some personal ads.
Hell no.
Day laborer. It's hard telling what you're gonna get yourself into.
Prison guard.
Jordan, I would never want to see you as a prison guard.
That was actually my next job.
That was your next
I was gonna,
your next choice if tattooing.
if tattooing fails, if
Yeah,
my hands
you were
fail,
gonna- you were gonna
I'm
be a prison
I'm
guard.
gonna nub as a police guard.
I mean, I'm not gonna discourage anybody from
Or a
being a
prison guard.
corrections officer. It's a great living. Do it. Be proud of it. However, it's just the safety factor.
Yeah.
You're going into it. You're voluntarily going into an unsafe environment every day.
Yes.
And I know the odds of something happening are super duper slim, but like,
We've seen the movies.
yep,
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
be a police
Natural
or a
Born
fucking
Killers.
prison
Did
guard.
you ever watch that?
Oh my God, that's one of my
The
favorite
town I
movies.
grew up in had 7 prisons. It's a little community. 7. I think there's 5 now.
Oh man.
One of them called IMAX. It's just big maximum security facility. Supposedly there's tunnels that go under the road to the other 2 prisons. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to have skipped the heavy labor in life. Allowed me to be the artist that I am.
Heavy labor.
Hard labor, heavy labor,
Heavy labor.
all of it. Heavy labor.
He's like, I don't want to do anything heavy or hard.
Anything. Nope, I got my own projects.
Yeah.
I don't need to do things for other people. Work for other people, except for Derek.
I mean, it's a funny gray area. Like technically we work for Derb, but I think I feel better saying we work with.
But
It's such
we work
a
with and at Derbs, and also
Yes.
for him.
we work with and
also
around
give
and
him money for
for
making
and
it.
beside of.
Right.
And
He's a
But
benevolent.
like, what's so awesome?
He's a
about
benevolent
working for-
ruler.
what's great about working for him is like you couldn't say anything like bad. It doesn't, it's a great job. that we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
yeah, we have-
everything's great.
we have
couldn't be
all the
more
freedom
happy
in the
about
world,
that.
but also all the support in the world, which is a
Mhm.
super rare combination.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, have you been to Red Tree
I
yet?
have
The new
not.
location?
I have not. I need to check it out.
Were you at the old location? The one on 4th?
I got tattooed by him at Stain Skin
Okay, so
on
you
High Street.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
Okay. Have you you've not come to any of the art shows or
No.
anything? So you've never even been to Red Tree?
I know.
Girl, how do you live in Columbus and not like
I know. I need to come down, check it out.
Well, we can get get tattooed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
Yeah.
there soon enough.
That's right.
No, it's special. It's a special place. It's like it's a art gallery and
Mhm.
our home and our mess making place. Jordan and I have a bunch of music instruments out in the garage. Sometimes
Nice.
it turns into pretty rad little impromptu jam sessions. Other times it's nonsense, and I think Jess just wants to wring our necks. But she's cool about it. She's not. I feel like we drive her crazy though.
Yeah. I feel
Sorry.
like it's rare.
Sorry,
it's rare,
Jess.
it's rare enough that I think she's okay with it.
I hope she just rolls her eyes and thinks we're silly. I hope.
There's worse
I
things you
think
could do.
she's 100% just fine with it.
We got to get on recording ourselves a theme song, Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have our own theme song to come in and
Oh,
out with.
totally.
Absolutely.
We've been working on it. We've got a few like gibberish recordings that we made with like little condenser mic in the studio. But I think we need to get on the ball. Like within the next 2 weeks, we should like deadline.
And it could have the sound of drill going in the background.
There should be like a Marty tattoo machine running, or maybe
Yeah.
Ben Rife. Have that yang 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 yang. Have that be like our metronome that we play music to. That's
The
not
what?
a bad idea.
The what?
The yang 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 of a coil tattoo machine.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
the yang 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 yang. Yeah.
Yep. The little reps.
If you're whip stippling, it's brap brap. If you're shading, it's yeah 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 yeah.
Oh
Because
my
you want
God,
it to be
fair,
nice and
fair.
smooth.
That's
Fair.
pretty good, actually.
Yeah 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 yeah.
Yeah, my skin's starting to itch.
I've,
Need a
I've
tattoo.
spent a lot of years working on that.
That's one of the things when you walk into a convention and you just hear like so many people being tattooed
buzz.
at once. My skin literally starts like I
It's
want.
almost
I need to
quiet.
get
It's almost
tattooed.
quiet now though. Everyone's on the rotary game.
Yeah.
You'll have a few. It's so funny how many people use rotaries solidly though. There's
Even
definitely
Marty's
a lot
been
there's
using a
lot of
rotary.
coils. There are a lot of coils at conventions. Don't
Yep.
get me wrong, but rotary, everyone's switching over to it. It's just
Hmm.
so easy and it's so nice being wireless, and so many people are jumping over to the wireless game.
I feel like I have less soreness in my wrists and stuff. Granted, I've got super prissy little wrists. Hashtag girl power. But
Yeah, I got a lot less on this too.
But-
I can't like holding a coil is definitely a lot different. It's really bad on your wrist, and my wrist is already getting bad enough with what I have going on.
even with your man wrists,
My man wrists.
your man wrists get sore with a coil machine too.
Yeah.
I thought it was only my dainty girl wrists.
No, I gotta take care of my wrists. I've been making art my whole life with no heavy labor.
Mm.
No heavy labor. Son, your body's atrophying. From what?
You've got these,
lack of hard.
Heavy labor.
Lack of toughness.
you've got these really buff hands. The rest of you is like spaghetti.
Son, we've detected the problem.
right.
What's the cure, Doc? Robot legs.
Robot legs. I just expect half of it to shut down when I'm about 45, and then I'm gonna switch over to robot legs.
45's not that far away. You got like what? How many
I
years
just
is
can't-
that for
I
you?
just can't wait.
Oh,
I just can't wait. I
Oh.
can't wait.
Just wait.
I don't want to be a robot. I'll make the switch before they're even gone.
Robot legs. Do you have any leg tattoos?
Not yet. I have my foot, but that's it. Nothing else on my legs.
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta pee real bad.
I think it's gonna be funny if Jordan actually gets like some robot legs tattooed on him.
Yeah.
Like crazy pistons and cords and
I wouldn't get it.
It kind of needs to happen.
I might get some cool Mac, but I won't get this.
you're not getting robot legs? You know robot legs have to have pneumatics or hydraulics to work. There's gotta be a piston. There's gotta be a piston.
Powered by bioorganic tendril pneumatic.
A biotendril piston.
Oh my gosh.
So it's gonna work like a mollusk. His robot legs are gonna work like mollusks.
Yeah, like octopus.
that's turning into a snail. That's not turning into a robot. That's
Isn't there
like,
some kind of cuttlefish? I remember hearing about
it's
a
so
cuttlefish.
funny. Jordan, his spirit animal is a cuttlefish.
That's what it is. Okay. So that's the kind of power he's going to use.
Yep. Cuttlefish power. I can't believe that. So do you plan on doing your legs? Are you
Yes.
going for full coverage?
Yeah, I don't know about full coverage. Certainly my both full arms. fill out my shoulders like across the top and, you know, my two shoulder caps. And then, yeah, I think I'll do my calves after that. And then some kind of thigh hip combo thing. So yeah, pretty.
Do you already have ideas for those spaces, or it's just vague areas that you imagine being tattooed?
So my calves, I want to have done by Laura Anunnaki, who's in Mexico City.
Mhm.
She's Japanese in Mexico City. Amazing combination there. And she does like these unbelievable, like sparkly glitter, high color, high gloss, like just they look amazing. But usually of like anime characters
Mhm.
or very sweet little girl, like the whole like Lolita Goth kind of
Okay.
scene. Like, yeah, so that'll be the back of my calves for sure. This arm, as you know, Tropical Daydream. Oh no, I mean this arm. I have to keep doing that. I keep switching. Tropical Daydream on the right. Left will be collecting here and there, but mostly organic stuff. And then my legs, I don't know yet. I mean, I love skulls. I've loved skulls all my life, like skulls and skeletons. So
Mhm.
somewhere I want something with that. I would love some sort of tribute to childhood. That actually, this arm was going to be a tribute to childhood with just like different things that I loved as a kid and still love as, you know, a quote unquote adult.
A tribute to childhood is
yeah.
so vague. You can have so
I
many
know.
cool things.
I
Like if
know.
that's the theme, there's
Yeah.
so many. Like they could be trinkets, they could be stories and scenes.
Exactly. And it can be my childhood but also my daughter's. Cause like right now on this arm, I have a Wonder Woman tattoo, which is, I loved Wonder Woman as a kid
Mhm.
and it's also girl power. But then I also have a tattoo that is just a potion bottle that Janine Ramos did, but I made it about my daughter. Like I made it, it's like lightning in a bottle basically. And that's my kid. So yeah.
Nice.
So the whole arm will be just different things from my childhood and from hers, but oh, and there it is. Yeah. My little potion bottle. There you go. And my daughter has
Perfect.
a constellation of moles on her back that look like a constellation of stars. And so I had her do that. That's the exact pattern of moles that my daughter has, but she did it as little like stars.
How cool. That's a really neat way to incorporate such a personal story in a little tattoo. So a lot of times when people come to me with ideas and it's like 100 ideas in one, and they're
Yeah.
like, I need to capture everything about this person in
Yeah.
one tattoo. It's like, well, hold on a
Yeah.
second.
Let's distill that down a little bit.
Let's tell me more. Tell
Mhm.
me more. And like, I just kind of like, I'll just ask prying questions about the person. So
Mhm.
it'll be like, okay, so they really spend a lot of time cooking, right? Okay. All right. Did you spend a lot of time tasting food? Okay. So then I just like follow the story further down, and then we can end up either like taking something that exists and like
Mhm.
putting those twinkles around it, like you said, or like just adding a little bit of flavor that makes it personal to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to add 100,000 different things to tell the story. It can be just like, this is it. This is
Yeah.
the thing to tell
Yeah.
the story.
Well, yeah, that was, I mean, a piece of her flash that we just made into
Mhm.
a tattoo about my daughter, you
Yep.
know, like, but I like that better than sometimes I like to be more subtle about things than overt, you know, like I could have just done a portrait of my daughter, but it's like, no, I just wanted to do a little more understated than that, you know?
I think there's something magic in like having the choice of it being a conversation piece. Like
Mhm.
you can talk about it or you can not. Like,
Yeah.
I like that. Like either way, you're wearing it on your sleeve, but
Exactly.
like it allows interpretation. One way allows interpretation. The other way doesn't allow
Yeah.
interpretation.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I love the super meaningful tattoos, but I also love the ones like we've talked about. I just wanted it. I just thought it was cool just for the hell of it. You know, I like both
Right.
types.
I like creating my own associations and stuff. Like
Mhm.
when it comes to my tattoos, a lot of them are fairly abstract, so they don't necessarily have like their direct meaning. But I like it's almost like whatever you think about, you can
Exactly.
create. So it's, I create my own associations towards it and the connections I make and the things that lead up to the tattoos and the tattoo itself, the process, the things I learned while going through that, the things I learned that led up to the tattoo, then getting the tattoo, just ingrained.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, so much that might be going on in my life, and then I associate that with that, and just like these checkpoints in life, and like, these
Absolutely.
parts of my story, even if they might not be able to represent it like in a way where it's like, oh yeah, I know everything about you because I see your tattoo.
Right.
It's like starts to make you ask questions and
Yeah.
stuff.
You know what I was thinking about the other night? I always love when you hear from people and they're like, yeah, I got this eagle tattoo on a whim. And like, since then, everybody thinks that's my favorite animal. And they buy me eagle everything. I got all these eagle figurines and I just like got the tattoo because I thought it looked cool. Or people that are like, yeah, I got this like tiger tattoo. And now like I got like tiger blankets and stuffed tigers. Have you ever seen that happen where somebody just gets a tattoo on a whim and now like their whole life is
I'm not
wrapped
sure,
around
but
the
that
tattoo?
makes perfect sense. I'm not sure in any specific examples, but
Oh man.
that's really funny.
It
I
is
can
really
totally
funny.
see that happening.
Yeah. I can too.
Everybody thinks tigers are my favorite. I just got the tiger because it looked cool. I was drinking. I don't know.
Oh my
I wish
God.
people bought me presents based on my tattoos.
What
I
kind
don't
of
know,
presents
Jordan.
would those
I
be?
thought you might like this really weird alien organic looking rock thing that I found, and I broke it open and it had liquid inside it, and it was like looked like molten lava. I don't know.
But you probably would like that.
I would love it.
I know. See,
But where
so
would one find that?
so they're right.
Exactly, but I mean, along the same concept, I wish people would. When I actually like that thing, and
Yeah.
they don't get it for me.
Oh.
Where's my alien rock?
Where's my alien rock? That's what you should start saying every time you meet somebody. It's like,
Just give them that face, like.
I think you guys are onto something though, because buying someone gifts based on their tattoos is brilliant. Because how are they not going to like it?
You're right, and it's really funny if they don't.
I guess. Yeah, I guess you're right.
I feel like if you were to look at my tattoos, you could probably hit some home runs. Some of them you'd be like, hold on a second. Is that bacon? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I have a bacon tattoo. Have you seen it? It's little.
I
Got a
think
little
so,
bacon.
yeah.
I got on my sporata leg.
Nice.
I got a little bacon tatty.
Nice.
I often get mistaken for a vegetarian.
And then you show me bacon.
Yeah, with pride.
I was trying out these headphones just to see how good they were, and they suck. And I feel bad for anyone I gave them to in the past.
Well, I mean, we
Sorry,
gotta try
guys.
them.
I had to sometime.
I made this too fat. It doesn't want to stay together. It's okay. It'll be all right. We're gonna get through it, Jordan.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Tell us about your favorite tattoo session and your least favorite tattoo sessions.
Okay. I loved my tattoo that I got from Derb because I was living in Dayton, but we were commuting to Columbus to get tattooed. And that was just kind of cool because I had like an hour and a half before to like psych myself up and listen to my hype music and get all, excited. But then the drive home was always really hard. But my now husband, then boyfriend, fiance-ish, would come with me and he'd always drive home, thank God. But even so, you can't get comfortable, like, with the back piece. That was just that you're like
Oh, yeah.
kind of leaning
learned
forward
that
a
one.
little in the
I
car.
remember
And, ugh.
Thankful. That's why I was so happy Fawn came with me too. She was able to drive back when I was,
Yes. Oh my
and
God.
then Emily in the second trip.
Yeah. Driving with a fresh back piece, not fun. Or a fresh chest piece for that matter, with a seatbelt across it.
Right.
Fortunately, I felt like my chest was actually, my sessions were brutal, but my heels were good.
Yeah.
The sessions on my chest were awful. But I had two people working on me at once.
Yeah. That looked hardcore. Just looking at the pictures, I was like, yeah,
I mean, I
Yeah.
recommend it, but I don't recommend it.
right. I mean, you blast it out and get it done.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was been pretty hardcore. So I don't know if I described favorite or least favorite, but just memorable, and it was great. Probably my least favorite was this last tattoo that I got at Sacred Hand, which I love Sacred Hands and I love Big Me's, but that was just a rough spot. It was my first big tattoo in a really long time,
It's just physically traumatic.
and no one came with me. Like they have a no kids rule at Sacred Hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, my daughter couldn't come, and my husband couldn't come with my daughter. And then my best friend and like my quote unquote tattoo posse friends who normally would come just for whatever reason couldn't come. And so I just soldiered it out on my own, both sessions. And first one was like the novelty was still high and it was still kind of like, wow, this is really cool. I'm really here. And just there is something hilarious about me, like a chubby middle-aged mom getting tattooed by a big niece who pretty much tattoos bikers and gangsters for a living. It was just kind of hilarious. So the first session I was pretty high on just the whole experience. But by the second one, I knew how bad it was going to hurt. And it sucked. It just sucked. That second.
How far apart were your sessions?
A month.
Okay.
So I was fully healed.
Yeah, I like giving at least a month in between.
Yeah, I do
feel
too.
I feel like that's a good window to help with like the post session PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I've had some sessions
1
where
month is about the minimal amount of time. I mean, even like 3 months is kind of still good.
yeah.
Because I still get PTSD after 3 months. For
I've
sure.
had
I'm
some
still, like, going in,
sessions
like,
where it's like a few
Right.
weeks before I am even ready to be like touched by another human being.
Yeah.
Like just I don't need a hug.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So now's the perfect time to get tattooed because you can't hug people right now anyway, right? So
True.
6 feet distance and all that.
I'm taking advantage of that.
I don't need no stinking hugs.
I don't need no hugs from no one.
I
don't need
miss
no
hugs.
hugs nowhere, no how. Who
I need a little bit of hugs.
who needs a hug?
I need some hugs.
There we go.
Hey,
I think I got it that time. It was too full.
you got the
It
materials
happens
burning.
It was too full. It wouldn't stay.
My
it
things
wouldn't
have
stay closed.
stopped working. Oh, that's better.
Oh yeah.
Ba-doop,
Nice.
boop, boop. Got him?
Oh my god, that just changed a lot.
What happened?
Did you do you guys notice it?
I definitely noticed a difference.
Yeah.
Something was loose somewhere.
Yeah, that's your
Hmm.
my headphone, someone's headphone,
Hmm.
your headphone. I don't know.
Well, our sound just got a whole lot louder, but that's okay. That's all right. That's all right.
Do. Test
Test,
or just fun?
test.
Test.
Test again.
Test.
And we're back. Can you hear out of your thing now?
It's kind of in and out, but
Is it?
Are you plugged in all the way right here?
I think so. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's the mic on.
Testing.
That's
yeah.
good.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Right.
that chord's weird. I'm gonna change it out.
Okay. And now I got nothing. Okay, they're there.
Is it on?
Too many knobs.
Is it
Too
on?
many knobs everywhere.
Too many knobs, and
Too
there's
many
so many
knobs.
screens and cameras around us. It's
There-
kind of intense.
It is very.
I had to turn the
intense.
camera off the TV because it was giving me anxiety watching, going back and forth. I had to be too mindful. It was keeping me too mindful
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all right.
I like to be mindful about them, but I was like, this is distracting.
It's okay. We're gonna end up with a third person in here soon.
Yeah, I'm coming to
Just come
realize
up
we're
with the
gonna
technology.
need it in the future a little bit for
Yeah.
sure.
We keep saying we needed Jamie. Maybe we'll just have M come on Thursdays and be our shadow.
We need someone to be
person.
able to go to a camera when like
Mhm.
a camera's going down. If something's going over there or something like that, and someone who just come finagle things. We'll get there.
We're getting there.
Thanks everyone for
Thanks
hanging
for the
in there.
patience. Little by little, we're getting better. You guys are just along for the ride.
All right. We hope that if you smoke weed, you're smoking weed with us.
Do you know I never in my life had any interest in any kind of audio visual equipment whatsoever?
Like you just didn't care. You're just like, I don't like audio and visual stuff.
Well, like I don't even like sitting down to edit my photos. Like that's a
Just
big
had no
chore.
interest in doing it yourself. I feel like even it wasn't that long ago. You're kind of on that page.
Yeah, now we have a whole studio that we need to learn how to use
Mhm.
fluidly.
I was
Fluidly.
really I don't know. I've been diving into digital stuff a lot the past few years, but I've also simplified the past the past 6 years been hardcore jumping into digital art. The past year I've kind of slowed down on my digital art and like just been focusing on like painting and hand drawing, but like doing less digitally and then using that to do more by hand. But then I bought my computer and then it just like dove right back in to the digital world, and I got so many projects and so many things that I'm constantly learning. It's just been I love it.
artists
All
who
I'm trying to
worked
say
on
is I
you,
didn't think that it
have
was
they
gonna
been
go as far as it did.
more digital or organic?
I would say more organic and kind of like Conan would like sketch stuff out and literally with a pen, a pencil and a notebook, pretty hardcore. Like, but Derb, I'm pretty sure Derb did Nemo. I call my koi Nemo. I always name my tattoos. It seems like I don't know why, but they all have names. But yeah, so my koi, I'm pretty sure Derb did that on a computer.
Nice.
But
How long ago was that?
we finished that. We did it in 2005, like 2004 into 2005.
Oh wow, it looks great then.
Thanks. All my tattoos are pretty old. I mean, except for because, like I said, I took 10 years off. So this is, last year, just before the pandemic. Yeah, like 2019, I guess. But the rest of them are pretty old, but they just do not see the sun. I keep them covered up.
That sunblock.
Sunblock and
The
just a
sunblock
shirt
on.
on in the sun,
Mhm.
almost always.
I was asking, I'm between the two of us, I'm definitely super duper organic in all of my processes. Like I'm gonna lean towards just drawing it by
Mhm.
hand. Like I'll get references together on Procreate, but then I'm gonna just draw it by
Yeah.
hand. Like where Jordan's like just, I'm not gonna say completely the opposite. He's way more like high tech and digital.
Mhm.
So we're both coming to it with like similar goals in mind, but totally different ways of thinking. And now it's like, bam, you got to learn all of this crazy nonsense together. Like to me,
Yeah.
it's nonsense because it's like, oh man, now I got to like think like in steps and like orders of operations and
Yeah.
and
The one that
Jordan's halfway to robot legs already.
I mean,
so
he is. It's true.
Mentally,
The one
they're
that
already
really,
robot legs.
the one that really blew my mind was Meese with the lettering because he just Sharpied it on me and then just went like it was. I mean, I can't even imagine being able to do that and have it be so symmetrical and so I mean, he drew a couple of lines,
Mhm.
but then he just Sharpied it on me.
Yeah, I love drawing on the skin so much,
Yeah,
so much.
I think one of the good things, one of the things that makes lettering nice is when you can just like, I always feel like nice lettering should look like music. It should have a rhythm and it should have a rise
And
and
a
a
flow-
fall
a
and
flow.
it should have like an end and like it should have a start and a stop and like a rhythm in between and your eye should like, if it's intended to, it should loop back around to the beginning
Mhm.
or it's just like that rhythm and he achieves it
Oh, yeah.
effortlessly and
Yeah.
to like go and I like the way like when he does like large pieces and it'll go from like script to block to script
Yes.
to block to script so he's creating rhythms horizontally but just like in the letters he chooses and the way he uses them is like building blocks. He's creating all of these other rhythms
Mhm.
vertically and then like your eye will follow around his work like a figure eight every time whether it's one word or whether it's a whole phrase. Like if you
Yeah.
just you can always read it clearly but when you take a step back it's like a three-dimensional stair step.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
totally.
all lettering artists work with lettering in a way that they're like using lettering as building elements. And I think that's what really sets his lettering in particular apart. Like there are a lot of letterers that, you'll see like the graffiti letter next to
Mhm.
the block letter, next to like the drippy, runny old English letter, next to a script, next to like a lettering that looks like it was printed on a dollar bill. But he takes all of those elements and then builds them freehand, mind you,
Yeah.
into beautiful, flowing, balanced, and all directional pieces of art.
Yeah.
It's not just whatever it says, it's like a whole picture built out of those words.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just the way the girl is negative space and then the power is like really bold. And it's like, oh my God. So
Some of the
cool.
best graphic designers in the world can't do that with typography.
Right.
Like he's special. He's really
Mhm.
gifted and special for what
Yeah.
he does.
For sure. Now I'm ready to, I got my word tattoo in my black and gray, and now I'm ready to get back to pretty pictures and colors, lots of colors. I'm so excited.
All the
Fawn,
colors.
you're gonna kill it.
I know I
You're gonna
like
kill
playing
it.
with colors.
Yes.
I got a lot of crazy stuff I haven't even shared because it's so like close to finished, but not finished enough.
So what did you approach Fawn with? What were the words, the key words for the job form?
I've had the experience of reaching out to an artist and describing my like vision and just hearing crickets. And I hate that. That's the worst.
Right.
And you don't know, like, are they just, they love my idea, but they're really busy. They hate my idea and they wouldn't want to do it even if they weren't busy, or something in between. And so I was so excited when I heard back. It was like Christmas. I was like, oh my God. It took a couple months to hear back, but I was like just so excited. So what were my words? I read what I've been following Fawn for a while, and I know what she wants to do. And I knew that it gelled with what I want. And so I just basically tried to use words that showed her that my vision for what I'm imagining is like right in line with her vision for what she wants to do. And so I had a really good feeling, but I still, took a couple months and I was like, oh, I hope she liked it. I don't know. And I did drop Derb's name. I'm not going to lie. I was like, Derb can tell you I'm a good client.
Nice.
I mean,
That's something. It helps sometimes. It does.
I mean-
it does. Sometimes some things just to set you apart a little bit can help.
if nothing else,
Unfortunately,
at
we
least
just
you
we
know
there's,
I'm
so
a
there's
serious,
sometimes there's a lot of people.
yeah,
So things to set you apart.
Yeah.
Projects that have just that little
Exactly.
extra something
Artists
that might be
talk
like,
to
oh
each
yeah.
other though, so it is kind of nice to be like, I've been worked on by so and so who you know.
Right,
They're gonna be like,
right.
hey, this person cool.
Right. Like if
And
someone
sometimes that'll
if someone
instantly
drops
be like,
Fawn's
no, they're
name
awesome.
or something like that, if someone drops an artist's name to me, I'd probably say something to them and probably
Yeah.
ask them a
And
little
I-
bit about them.
I
Maybe as the day
definitely-
of, maybe it was when I got the request.
right. And it definitely wasn't doing it as like, oh, I have a tattoo from Derb. Like, it wasn't like that at all. It was just more like Derb can tell you what kind of client I am. Like,
Mhm.
because I know,
Yep.
Derb and I worked really well together, and he knows I'm cool and, good to work with. And so, yeah, I just figured it couldn't hurt.
No, when I hit Guy up about working on me, I was like, I've been worked on by such and such and such and such and such and such. And when he replied with, I'm familiar with your collection. I was like,
That's so funny. True story. When I first had my chest done, we went to Massachusetts, 2001 or 2002. I can't remember. And Guy asked, like, he saw me walking by and he was like, can I see your chest piece? And it was like one of my friends just like got her camera and like took a picture. So somewhere in my little dorky tattoo scrapbook, I have a picture of Guy Atchison looking at my chest really intently. It's awesome.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I remember several years ago at Hell City, my sister Sarah and I were walking around, and we come up the stairs and we're getting ready to go in the ballroom, and Guy's coming around, and I like hold the door with my foot, and he
Mhm.
walks through, and I'm like, Sarah, that was Guy, and
Yeah.
she's like, okay.
When the tattoo artist that I worships Guy, like immediately it becomes like a deity to me too.
Yeah.
And so,
Yep, for sure. It's funny how the world works, where like there was a time where I was like excited to just like be in the same presence and hold the door for him, and then to have the privilege to have
where his work.
not only Guy but other artists
Yeah,
as well that
yeah.
I look up to in the same degree. Like I remember when Derb introduced me to Russ, we were up in Detroit, and Derb was kind of just sitting like a sissy while he was getting his upper arm by his armpit tattooed. I was like, you want some Bactine, buddy? He was like, yes. So I went and got the last bottle from CVS for him.
Nice.
But afterwards on a break, he like introduced me to Russ, and it was just like because like Derb and I weren't even close yet. It was just like, hey, you like look like you're struggling. You want some Bactine? He's yes. Maybe that's why and how Derb even remembered my name. I don't know. This girl that saved my life with Bactine. And then blunts later.
Nice.
But it's really cool to go from like almost like that starstruck moment of like, oh my God, this is who I've looked up to forever, to like I can just have a conversation with them. We can see each other. I proudly wear their work. It's not just I held the door for that guy. It's
Right.
I now have his art forever, and it can never get lost, stolen, traded, damaged. Like I have that forever.
Yep.
That's how I feel about my back piece. Well, all my pieces, absolutely, absolutely. But looking up to Guy for so long, definitely like deity stats in the art world.
Yes, for
my
sure.
my whole come up, and before I tattooed, like my favorite artists, H.R. Geiger, Guy Aitchison, and Alex Gray. Like those are always my favorite artists, and like I was looking at Guy's like paintings as well. Like that was like huge. Was just looking at like bioorganic paintings. I wasn't looking up tattoos a ton. I was looking up bioorganic shit that was not that. just wasn't really introduced to the bioorganic world.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it wasn't even like the bioorganic paintings I'm seeing now from him. Like I was seeing totally different stuff back then.
Guy's work's definitely evolved, and like all along, it's like it's his imagination is growing and evolving and changing. So is mine.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
my daydreams are evolving and getting more elaborate and more is being pulled from that other realm that we always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool to see that, like, as Guy's always pushing the envelope, he's dancing and playing in the same realms. Like it's like the magical mashup of like visionary meets organic meets mechanical meets Guy's magic brain.
Right, with like touch of realism. So it's like you're just taking like abstract things and turning them real.
All
Mm-hmm.
believable.
Like just
every
taking
time.
pure chaos and turning it into something real. You
Mhm.
know, make these flowy scribbles, and now let's make those flowy scribbles look like they're a real thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're believable and there. Or like not just there, but like into something like
It makes it almost sound
solid,
too simple to
but-
say it like
right,
that. Like,
yeah,
we're just
no,
gonna take these
material, like-
scribbles that don't exist and make them exist.
like look like life. Like literally look like a new form of life.
Hmm.
And using all form, like using light to make it happen.
He's magic.
Yeah.
Shout out to
definitely.
Guy Aitchison, reinventing the tattoo,
But like
reinventing the
shout
tattoo.com.
out to Guy, but like I mean all bio.
Have you
what
downloaded
am I
the
doing?
app yet?
All Guy,
All Guy all the time.
no, all artists who are doing stuff like that. Like that's just what I love about bioorganic art in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the plugs, all the
Yeah.
shameless plugs,
We're not sponsored by, but
inspired by.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's even better.
Yeah.
What?
This episode inspired by Guy
Yeah,
Aitchison.
inspired by. Yeah.
Guy Aitchison and girl power.
Yeah. It's a good combo. He's a girl dad. He'd appreciate that.
So when Michelle worked on you, did you get to hang out?
It was
with
at a
Guy.
convention.
So there was just
so-
no. It was just.
I mean,
like,
they were sharing a booth, so he was there, and
but busy.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was doing his thing, but they did invite us the second year after. So I got tattooed by her 2 years in a row. The second year, they invited us back to she had like a an art showing in their hotel suite that
Mhm.
night, and so we got to go and like felt like we were partying with the real true rock stars. It was like all the big name artists were there. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
It was like, and we were just in there like passing joints. Like it was awesome.
It still feels like that sometimes. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll just be standing in a circle of people and it's like, man, when you're actually surrounded by the people you look up to, it's a pretty special feeling.
Yeah, it
I
is.
definitely don't take it for granted. I hope I don't come across as I'm bragging. I just like
No.
to celebrate because
Yeah.
not everybody has the opportunity to be surrounded by like the legends that they look up to. Like I
Mhm.
always talk to other people that aren't in the tattoo community, and I'll like try to compare the people that I work with and know to like rock stars that are in the industry.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can tell people, but it's not really the same.
Right.
Like there's no comparing it unless you're like in the tattoo community and you really know who these people are. If you just have tattoos, that's fine. But once
Yeah.
you're like actually
Like
part of the community, then
Yeah.
It's all right though. It's all right though. It's like an if you know, you know type thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like you got these fucking gems that, you know, just gotta like uncover and you look in this little cave and you just got these fucking gems that shine so fucking bright.
Hmm.
Like, just amazing tattooers. So it's crazy in the art world that some of these amazing tattoo artists don't get the I'm not saying like not like Guy's become a huge name and like so many artists know him, but in terms of like the fine art community and all that and like the paintings that are getting sold for like, you know, anywhere from, you know, just not even because they're worth $50,000 to $1 million, you know, they're getting sold because that's just the art community that's selling it. But that,
Mhm.
or, you know, tattooing and like a lot of the art of tattooing hasn't been included in that community.
it's starting to now.
So
though.
like it
Finally.
is, it's thank goodness. And people are getting recognized for it, but it's wild seeing people that are best artists I've ever seen at anything, you
Mhm.
know, and a lot of them are tattoo artists. and you just expect them to be making millions from painting that good, you know, just like unachievable painting, you know, they're doing
Unachievable.
like not really because anything's achievable, but at the same time you just look at it and you're like, wow,
Hmm.
I would have never thought to
That's
do it
where
that
I'm
way.
like, wizard,
Exactly.
Yeah.
wizard, another realm. You're talking to aliens.
But I love that. I love like, I don't know. I love that it's almost kind of a secret too. Like it needs to be out there.
Hmm.
But I love that like, if you know, you know.
There is something to be said for things that are not fully mainstream, and you know they are like a little bit more on the fringe, and you have to know, like, or know someone to get initiated in. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
there's some tattoo was like that for me for a really long time. You know, I really liked it because it was sort of forbidden and, you know, rebellious. And but then once I started collecting like fine art, that kind of
Right.
element of it went away for me. But I still, I mean, I don't know if I love how mainstream they are. Like, you know,
Mhm.
I wonder if anyone will ever do a tattoo for $1 million.
hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I wonder if like
I
it'll ever
could
be
see it.
valued like some other artist valued like that.
Hmm.
But the other side of it is that like it's really one of the most impermanent arts as well. Like we
Mhm.
think about it as being the most permanent art because it's like our lifespan, but really like it's no, painting is going to outlive you.
Yeah.
Like a painting
An oil painting is definitely going to
it might chip, but it's going to outlive you. Like
Yeah.
if it's not ruined by
Mhm.
somebody, you know, physically, if it's just on a wall for that long and that wall is still there that
Mhm.
long, might be covered in dust, but that painting's still going to be there.
It is funny. I feel like we've
500
talked about
years
this
later,
before.
we're looking at Da Vinci paintings and stuff. So
Yeah.
like,
We talk about how permanent tattoos are, and tattoos are forever, but they're really, in the grand scheme of things, not. They're only permanent to the wearer.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the magic thing about a tattoo is it can't be bought, stolen, broken, damaged. Like it's the only possession that is you. It's not a thing that you have. It is you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't have a tattoo. It's part of you.
Yeah,
You can't
yep.
you can't lose it. You can't trade it, and then you can't hand it down to anybody. It's you and only you. It's the thing that makes tattoos special.
Hmm. It is totally unique.
It's,
Right
it's
now, I
only
think we-
worth as much as you've paid for it and the time and pain you've put into it, but you can't transfer that. It's not worth $1 to anybody else.
Mm-mm.
yeah, absolutely. I just think about where, you know, bringing tattooing into the other art communities and having it being seen as just as legitimate as any other fine art. And I just wonder if anyone will like. I just feel like it's inevitable that artists will eventually like. There's going to be some people out there charging stupid amounts, you know, that are just going to. There's people out there right now charging stupid
Mhm.
amounts, and then they're just going to drive it up till they're doing $10,000 sessions, you know, and like there right now that sounds ridiculous. I just wonder if that's going to become some normal because right now that would make right now the most like the best time to
To
have
get
like
into it.
availability or like have the availability to get into the artists that you want to before they start going like $10,000 plus. I don't think that needs to happen. I think tattoo artists
I've
we
heard of
all do
artists.
really well. I just think like inevitably there's going to be some assholes that'll drive the art price way up because
Right.
that's exactly what happens with the painting community.
Right.
Is that as soon as you know you could do a painting in 10 minutes and you can go and sell it for fucking $10 to someone, or you can bring that painting to a gallery and some rich person values it for $10,000. Now that painting automatically, no matter what, it's worth $10,000 because someone just paid $10,000
Right.
for it, and that's all that creates value when it comes to art.
Yeah, it does. The other thing about fine art, traditional fine art, though, is a lot of times it raises in value posthumously, right? Like once the artist passes. But with tattoo, there is no more art once the artist passes. So it's kind of difference.
That's why I like to paint too.
Yeah.
I like to have
Yeah.
I like to have some permanent art as well as
Yeah.
the impermanent art that I create.
When you create your art on an organic substance, it is going to decay eventually.
Do you collect any other art besides your tattoos?
I mean, sometimes I like a lot of times when I travel, I'll try to get a piece of street art. We have some amazing street art that we got in New York City where these artists just do incredible things with like spray can and like a paint can lid
Mhm.
and a crinkled up newspaper, and they just do these amazing and then like a scraper. And
They build like the city
yeah.
space.
I love those so much. And so we'll watch them do it live, and like I'll tell them I want this and this and this, and then so I'll collect like street art like that. I have street art from Israel that I love. I have street art from London. but yeah, so like that kind of like I like art as a souvenir when I travel, but not anything worthwhile. I mean, not like any fine art. I bought a painting once, God, on a honeymoon in Maui in like 95 by Christian Reese Lawson. Do you know that name at
Mm-mm.
all? So I'm gonna bring his book. It's kind of cheesy. It's very 90s, but it's like if you can picture like the tropical underwater scene where
Mhm.
you see waves and dolphins jumping out of the water and sunsets, but then under the water you see the coral reef and all the fish and turtles and everything. And it's kind of a little cheesy and kitschy, but I do still love it. And I could see
I
sort
just started a Kraken torso piece.
Did you
That
really?
is kind of like that same way where you can see like the line of the water splashing and the waves
Oh,
going.
I think I
Yeah,
remember
I'm
seeing that.
inspired by those 90s.
Yeah, there's a lot.
90s
There's a lot of
seascape
color
scenes.
and there's a lot of life and
Mhm.
there's a lot of vibrancy. Anyway, I did buy one of his painting once. It was a goofy move on my first honeymoon. But now I don't know where that painting ended up. I lost it in the divorce, so
Oh, no.
very sadly, it was not a permanent piece of art for me. But it was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I need to start collecting original art.
Mhm.
That's for sure.
I'm
I'd
really
like to have all
excited
my
about
walls full of paintings right now,
my
mostly
original
prints.
art growing between my glass collection. I've been collecting glass for several years now. I'm pretty proud of that collection. But like that's inspiration because like I'll look into like the glass marbles and I'll look into like these knobs that are on these functional pieces that I have, and they're like tiny little galaxies.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the kind of art that I collect, like the kind of glass art that I collect, if you were to like look at these like Fumicello little vortex marbles and then
Mhm.
stare at like an Alex Gray painting, it's like, oh, it's the same universe.
Yeah.
Only tiny. So I get like so excited and like inspired to create new like realms based on these little things that other artists have made, you know.
Yeah.
There's something so magic about glass art and the patience it takes to achieve the art that is within my taste. But I feel like it just makes my tattoos so much more like unbelievable, but at the same time, like you couldn't understand how a realm made out of like gas swirling together with weird shapes. You wouldn't understand how that would work if you couldn't just like pick it up and like look at it from all angles. And like, you know, you couldn't draw that freehand if you hadn't stared into it. You know, it's kind of like when Jordan plays in VR. It's like, again, I'm the analog version of what Jordan's playing, and where you build like these big things from the inside out. I look from the outside in.
Nice.
It's cool. Two different perspectives.
Yeah. But I love, like right now while I'm slowing down on my own tattoo collecting, I really like contributing to the artists the same way. Like, yeah, I just feel compelled. Like my clients are incredibly good to me. So I feel like any chance I have to like, basically the faster I can get the money out of my hand and into the hand of another artist, the more sense the universe makes to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel it.
Like, oh, I have this money that should be in somebody else's hand besides mine. Art.
Yeah. Like I said, I want to start collecting. I think it's a great thing. I think it's good to support artists, but I need to start selling my pieces. I think I've sold like one or two original paintings that I've ever made. I just like holding on to them. I've given a lot away. I have given a lot away.
I am way more likely to give my art away than
Some
sell
have been
it.
destroyed. Some have been destroyed.
Oh.
But I also like, I don't know. I like building the collection until I have too much. And once I have too much, then it's like time to sell.
I have a lot of pieces that I think I want to go and get. There are two in particular that I should have already had made, but I want to start doing like all of the new original work that I make. I want to do runs of like 5 and either do them on a G-clay print or print them on aluminum. So it will be like 5 and only 5, and that's it. And then I can go in and retouch them, make them original that way.
That's a great idea.
But that way I can still be stingy with my originals, but like people that seriously want to collect my work can. You know, I don't want to have to. I just, you know, I don't want to spend the time to send out a $10 print. I'm lazy. Like I'd rather roll a blunt than roll of print and put it in a packing tube. If I
Yeah.
can just be honest, like
Yeah.
I'd really rather sell like
To have to do
only- only a
dozens and
handful,
dozens and dozens
but-
of $10, $20 prints for
yeah, but they'd be like nice, ready to hang, like replicas that like in some cases, like if I took like some of my really glowy paintings and printed those on aluminum and then put like a light that was mounted above them, like a, like the
Mhm.
little, like the painting
Yeah.
lights,
Mhm.
like if it came like that already illuminated, I feel like that would probably be cooler than the original painting.
And you number them so people know it's
Yeah.
part of a select
Yep.
lot.
Yep, it'd be
I think that'd
like
be cool.
either 3 or 5 and that's it.
Yeah.
Like keep them real low numbers and
Mhm.
that way people that really want my work will have a chance to have it and it'll be, I don't know. I guess I don't really worry about like longevity of value for resale. I just want people to have my work that like love it. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to sell
Mhm.
a poster to just be tucked in the corner. I'd rather sell something that's like appreciated. Like, like your Atom print here, like that's hanging there and we enjoy that as much as if it were the original. That's how I want my work to be presented in people's homes.
That's really
And
beautiful.
then I always imagine like when I look at like a painting like that, I'm like, man, what if it was the original?
Mm-hmm.
Like the power that an original painting has is just so much more than a print as well. But it's so nice to have this little window.
Mhm.
I love this little window there. Like
Yeah.
Because now it's forever there. I kind of walk past all the time. I barely I'll look at it when I'm just sitting and doing nothing. And that's when I appreciate it the most is that like instead of like looking at a white wall, I can just like fade off into this little portal into another world that someone
Mhm.
spent so much time, and energy putting into it and being an artist, knowing what it takes to do it and the imagination and just like the vision, the fun process that it is. I
It's
just
kind of
love
cool.
it.
I never noticed it before, but that little volcano right there, like off from the middle, is super similar to the volcanoes in your underarm.
It totally
It
is.
could be like part of the same realm.
I think
Robot
Adam's been
dinosaurs.
loving the volcanoes lately.
Robot dinosaurs in the same realm as the trippy
I see,
mushroom
there's a few of
lizard.
his paintings that got a cool little volcano in them now. Bits and pieces.
Hmm.
At least I think so.
I got a
I need
volcano
more
coming up
paintings.
in this back piece that I'm working on.
Nice.
We're almost to the
The
volcano
tree?
part of it. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I've got a tropical landscape with a volcano. How I've been doing those. That I posted that piece recently that has the arc from the steel smelting. It's like the red glow. So I started another that was steel smelting, and then I just started a welding themed sleeve. So it'll have a bright yellow arc, and then I've got the 2 volcanoes. So
Nice.
those like orange, red,
I love that.
explosive glows. I love making
Love
them, and
those.
I've got a few of them on my plate at the same time. It's kind
That's
of fun.
very
I want to use those as much as I can.
Yeah,
for
it's
any
fun.
project.
Build
Love
it
it.
backwards.
Dark to light.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't tattoo the lava. Save that for last.
Do the lava. Yeah. Leave that.
Don't
Let
tattoo
that be
the
like the yellow.
splatters. Tattoo around the splatter.
Nice. I feel that. But we're cutting on 2 hours, 7 minutes now.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
probably
I feel like we're doing pretty good here.
close
had
to
a
time
pretty
to
good day.
start wrapping up here pretty soon. But yeah, this
Wrapping
has been,
up pretty soon.
This has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Really good.
You definitely have to come back on with us.
I'd love
Like
it.
maybe we'll have you on if we could work it out. Maybe like the day after a session, or maybe we
Yeah.
could even do like session, grab some footage of us working and include
Mhm.
that in an episode. It would be
Oh,
really
yeah.
nice to
Yeah,
start
let's do
getting
that.
footage.
Let's do that. Well, I'll try to help out. We'll see what those dates are.
We'll get there.
That's
and all that.
awesome.
I think that would be cool if I had the opportunity. I want to use these cameras as much as possible.
Yeah. So I got the message while we were sitting here. Our package came, our second arm.
Oh yeah.
So our next episode, we're gonna have horizontal arms for our microphones that come out this way,
Ooh,
less obstructive in the picture,
nice. And a plasma ball.
and a
Yeah,
plasma ball.
That's out there right now.
and a
That's-
I should
plasma
have brought
ball.
it out here.
That's a reason to come back just
That's
in and of
alright.
itself. I'm
We're gonna
Just
all
to
have to
see
touch
the
the plasma
plasma
ball.
ball.
That'll be like how we
When
When our
start.
powers unite.
Powers of the podcast unite. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
This
It's
show's gonna
perfect.
turn into like the 5-year-olds technical playland.
That's all.
Technological
That's all I
playland.
wanted in the first place.
Fair.
This was my circuit. So the more I can wiggle that in here,
Fair. I like it.
the more I can wiggle it on in.
All right. Are you out there in internet land, Sandy?
I am here in the interwebs.
I don't know. I don't know if she's there. We get
Are you
keep
able to
talking
hear me?
then.
That's all right. If she is there, Sandy, we can't hear you, but that's all right. We're gonna, yeah. I guess we'll do our sign off. Well, thanks everyone for listening. And Fawn, where can we find you?
You can find me at fawn_baker on Instagram. Oh, she's here.
Okay.
Or you can find us at Tattoo Collecting 101 on Instagram. We try to go live on there also.
You can
Every
find us
week.
when we're on Instagram live right now. If you're following us from the Tattoo Collecting 101, you're not going to get the same footage as the foot. Go to reinventingthetattoo.com or tattoocollecting101.com, right? Or the
No, it's tattoocollecting.com.
Sorry, I haven't said it out loud in a week.
Tattoo collecting.
Tattoocollecting.com will have the actual videos and the real sound quality. If you're watching it from Instagram, you're going to be having
It's
gonna
just
be
an iPad sitting
iPad
in the corner
quality.
of the room.
yeah,
It's just an iPad. But it's all right.
yeah.
We're getting there. I just like to include
Thanks for joining
everybody.
us, guys, and thank you
Yeah.
again, Laura.
Thank you for
being
having me.
here.
This
Yeah.
was so fun.
This was awesome. Yeah, I had a lot of fun talking to you.
Cool.
Definitely check her out. The Tattoo Doula,
Yeah.
or the Tattoo, or just Tattoo.
Tattoo Doula at Tattoo Doula on Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome.
And where can we find you, Jordan?
You can find me at Jordan Rookus Tattoo on Instagram. You can check my portfolio out there. Tattoo artist, all that. If you've been listening, you already know that. If you've made it this far.
All right. Sandy's back.
Yep.
You
And you
wanna-
can, and if you want to book with me, JordanRookustattoo.com.
All the
Thank you.
.coms. Hey, Sandy.
Hey, I'm not
Can
sure.
you
if
tell us
anybody
what's
can hear
coming
me.
up over the next few days?
Can you guys hear me now?
Maybe.
Hmm.
We still can't hear Sandy.
All right. Well, there is a live paint jam with Nick Baxter on Sunday. This Sunday at 9 p.m. You're going to want to be there. Live paint jam with Nick Baxter. That is like opportunity
Mhm.
central. Like that's some Nick Baxter is how I learned to oil paint actually. His sharp focus and realism oil painting book was the first when I wanted to jump into. I was acrylic painting for a while before that, but when I wanted to jump into oils, I got his book when I was into reinventing.
Yep.
Because that's I was referred to it by Guy, and then
Yep.
got into that, and that just started me on an awesome path of oil painting and falling in love with that. And I barely touch acrylics anymore. Love
Acrylics are nice for the
quick dry.
collaborative. Yeah, the quick drying collaborative process. Outside of that, I feel like oils are just the most organic. You can manipulate them the most. They're
addicted to the smell.
forgiving. The smell is it's magic.
I feel like once the smell, it's like an incense. Once the smell's in the air, it like
Mhm.
creates the space for me. Like
Mhm.
now I'm like in oil painting central, I smell the mineral spirits, linseed oil, liquid. After a while I get a headache, but I'm like, I kind of like it.
Mhm.
I really don't like it, but I still like it. I like the smell.
Do you post your
Well,
fine art to Instagram?
Yeah, I try to keep like a lot of the painting stuff on my I didn't even say this one, but the Death by Cuttlefish is my other personal page. But
I told you.
That's my art. That's my art page. That's not tattoo
Follow.
related. Yep. So Death by Cuttlefish, Death_by_Cuttlefish.
Cuttlefash.
Cuttlefash. Cuttlefash.
I don't know what accent that is, but I'll take it.
Cuttlefish.
All right.
Yep. Check out paintings there, but also on my Instagram, my Jordan Rookus Tattoo. I do post a lot of them on there. It's just a lot more sporadic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nice.
Well,
Sweet. Thanks,
We're
guys.
signed off. Sandy, if you're there, continue to do your thing.
Go through all the
Doo-doo-doo.
cameras.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, Laura.
Bye.